Hello and welcome to SportsNetUSA.net. Fullerton College Baseball is what we have on tap this afternoon. I am Ryan Osborn alongside Luke Hobbs, and Avery Jordan will join us in just a few minutes. Luke, two teams that we have here this afternoon, Fullerton College and Santa Ana, headed in completely different directions. Right now, Fullerton College, they're sitting, well, they've actually lost their last 11 out of 13, as opposed to Santa Ana, who's been on an absolute tear.
Yeah, Ryan, Fullerton, they've also lost. This is going to cap off a 3-game series against the two teams. Santa Ana having taken the 2 games earlier, so Fullerton wants to avoid the sweep today. That's really going to be key for them as they try to climb out of the basement in the Orange Empire Conference.
For Fullerton College, right now they're 12-15 overall. And once again, they've lost 11 out of 13, including getting swept by Riverside City College last week. For Santa Ana, they're 19-8 overall with a 5-6 record in conference, but that's only good enough for 4th place in the Orange Empire Conference. Luke, this Orange Empire Conference so far, well, it has the old adage of being the most competitive division in the entire state of California, and so far, teams have proved it.
Absolutely, Ryan. And if you want to just talk about how strong the OEC is, we can start just with the top 2 teams. Orange Coast, they have been the best team throughout the season, but they're actually only in 2nd place. They're second to Riverside. Riverside has beaten them twice this week, so now they're 9-2 to the Pirates 8-3, and Riverside on a 4-game winning streak. If we talk about those two teams, Riverside, they're a complete team. They have a lot of older players as well that when we watched them a couple of weeks ago, we see that they get these bounce-back players that go to colleges. They had several, actually, from San Diego State. Then they come back to Riverside, and they just produce. They put up numbers.
And so you look at the previous game between these two Orange Empire Conference opponents, Fullerton College and Santa Ana. Well, they've been playing all week, 2 times earlier this week, and things have not gone the Hornets' way, as the first game ended up being a 3-2 victory for the Santa Ana College Dons, and Fullerton College also drops the second game by a final score of 11-2. Santa Ana last game, with their 11 runs, they scored it on 18 hits, absolutely overwhelming the Hornets.
Right, and as you just said, with those 18 hits, that means that there were issues with the Hornets pitching and their bullpen. Chris Sanchez, their ace, actually got the start, but he got pulled only after 2 innings. He allowed 7 hits and 5 runs, 3 of those earned. So when your ace is only making it 2 innings, that means that you're going to have to go through quite a few pitchers. They went through 6 in this game. And like I was talking about, we saw them earlier against Riverside. They went through 6 pitchers in that game as well.
So when you look at the Santa Ana offense, well, it starts with the 2 Leaf brothers. You start off with Brian Leaf, who's batting .341 on the season with just 19 strikeouts. He has a home run and 23 RBIs, one of the better hitters in the entire Orange Empire Conference. Then you look at his brother Eric Leaf, who's batting .310 with 8 stolen bases and 18 RBIs, or make it 6 RBIs, but he gets on base and sets the table.
And a couple more fun facts about those Leaf brothers. Brian is 3rd in the Orange Empire Conference in RBIs with 23, and Eric is tied for 2nd in stolen bases with 8. So they're both producing for this team.
On the other side for Fullerton College, well, you mentioned the pitching troubles that Fullerton has had so far in Orange Empire Conference play, but when you look over at the offense, it starts out with 2 guys, one at the top of the lineup and the second who's batting second today, Joey Parente at the top of the lineup, and then Thomas Delgadillo, who's right behind him. Joey Parente, .351 average, and Coach Viscardo has said he's one of the better hitters in the entire state.
Joey Parente is the man for Fullerton College, but Thomas Delgadillo, amazingly enough, has the higher average. He actually has the highest average in the entire conference at .406.
And you look at him overall in the state right now, he is 14th overall in terms of batting average in the entire state of California. So you go back to Joey Parente, his big effect is the fact that once he gets on base, he can wreak havoc on the base paths. Has 7 stolen bases, only been caught twice, and you look overall, he has 23 runs, good enough for 3rd in conference.
And the other thing that I just love about Joey Parente, not only does he get on base, he has that great batting average, but he's a slugger. He's slugging an even 500 right now, and he's got 5 doubles and 6 triples. Somehow he has 6 triples this year. So he's getting those extra base hits, getting himself into scoring position right off the bat, which makes it easier for the cleanup hitters like Delgadillo and Kerr to come in and just start things off with some runs for Fullerton.
The only thing that you can see with Joey Parente that has been somewhat of a fault is that on-base percentage for Parente. He has an on-base percentage of .395 as opposed to his average, which is at .351, has only worked 7 walks at the plate so far when he's setting the table for the Hornets.
Right, you would definitely expect that to be higher, especially given that he is the man for this team. He is the do-it-all piece. But he's still having a very successful season offensively, and he locks things down in center field for them.
So let's take a look at the starting pitchers this afternoon for both Fullerton College and Santa Ana. You start with Fullerton College. On the mound, they're going with Logan Lannon. Lannon has started 5 games, appeared in 8. He has an 0-2 record, 26 1/3 inning pitched, giving up 26 for a total of a 3.42 ERA. Has not given up a home run and averages over 5.5 Ks per 9 innings.
And then on the other side, we've got Gabe Armstrong starting for the Dons. And Armstrong having a solid season. He's got a 2.70 ERA, and he's 3-1 in 14 appearances, 3 of those being starts. He's got also 1 save, and he's pitched 36.2 innings, which is good for 3rd on the team.
So you look at the 2 guys who head up both of these teams. You start over with Coach Fiscardo, over 500 wins in his career here at Fullerton College. 2013 Orange Empire Conference champions. Made it all the way to the state finals in 2013. And on the other side, well, a guy who's quite familiar with the Fullerton College Hornets and the 2013 Orange Empire Conference championship.
Yeah, on the other side is head coach Tom Nillis. Nillis coached here for 6 years, from 2010 to 2015, and he had a lot of success with the Hornets. He was a part of that 2013 run that you just mentioned, and for the last 2 seasons, he actually served as the associate head coach. But if you talk about Santa Ana Don's coaches, well, we have to talk about Don Snedden.
And you look at Don Snedden, we'll actually get a chance to talk about him a little more later on once this game gets going, as we get set for the national anthem this afternoon. Once again, we're live from Hornet Field, Fullerton College baseball this afternoon against #1 rival Santa Ana Dons, as we get set to get underway right here on SportsNetUSA.net. Once again, I'm Ryan Osborn, being joined by Luke Hobbs and Avery Jordan in just a couple moments. On a roll, there's no stopping them.
If the pitching staff gets on a roll, they're going to be strong. The other key to Fullerton, if you look at them, if they score 6 runs in a game this year, they win.
Then you look at the other side for Santa Ana. What do they have to do? Well, on the other side, they have to get the Leaf brothers going in this lineup. Eric Leaf is going to start off for Santa Ana. He's going to lead it off. If he can get on base for Brian Cromwell, Cromwell has shown that he is able to drive runs in. So if they can get on base, then they have a chance.
Well, we are excited and we're ready to go here. The announcer is about to bring him in as Leaf is just finishing warming up in the circle.
So Logan Lannon on the mound for Santa Ana. Their lineup is going to go with Eric Leaf to start things off. Brian Cromwell will be second. Batting third is Nathan Flores, and he'll be followed in the cleanup spot by Brian Leaf. Then it's Justin Milano in the 5. Derek Riley starting at shortstop this afternoon. Adam Sendejas will be at 7. Chris Major at DH, and Bobby Vasquez will round out the batting lineup for Santa Ana. Logan Lannon stepping up to the mound as Eric Leaf steps into the batter's box, and we're set to get underway here from Hornet Field. Fullerton College 2-9 on their season in conference play as Logan Lannon delivers the first pitch. It's high up and in the strike zone, so it's 0-1, and that's how we start things off. Down at third, Aaron Lizarraga creeping towards home, just in front of the third base bag, as Lannon delivers home. That goes low around the ankles at 1-1. Defensive lineup for Fullerton College. We'll start off on the mound. Logan Lannon. Behind the plate is Tate Brock. Over at first is Jake Anderson. Chase Kerr is at Ryan Aguirre is at second. Aaron Lizarraga is at third as this one goes just outside for 2-1. Todd Yost is at short. Thomas Delgadillo is in left field. Joey Parente, the stalwart, in center field. And Chase Kerr is in right. Coach Fiscardo's defensive setup this afternoon as this is delivered out and away for 3 balls and 1 strike.
And this has always been a key for the Fullerton pitchers. You don't want to get behind in the count. They really struggle with this as a group.
Lannon into the wind, delivers the 3-1. That's a strike right over the plate, and it's now 3-2.
Little surprised Leaf didn't take the swing there. It was right down the plate, as you said.
So Lannon will get the sign. Behind the plate this afternoon, once again, is Tate Brock. As the 3-2 goes in there, and it's a pop fly towards shallow right field. Getting up on it is Chase Kerr, and he is able to make the catch on the fly out to 9. So that will begin the game with the first out of this afternoon, and Brian Cromwell will be coming up to the plate.
That's a great start for the Hornets. They don't want to let the Leaf brothers get it going on base, and then that does not give Cromwell the opportunity to add to his RBI total.
Cromwell will come up to the plate. First time this afternoon. We're just getting underway here in the top of the first, and he'll take a strike on the inside corner for no balls and 1 strike.
And as we mentioned, Cromwell, that excellent hitter, he's got an even .400 average on the season.
Next delivery from Lannon. The 0-1 goes low. 1 ball and 1 strike. In left field, 334 down the line, 366 into the left power alley. Straight away is 405. 373 down towards the right power alley as there's an outside corner strike for 1-2. Down the line is 340 to right field. Outfield shaded towards left as the infield is a couple steps back. This one is a high chopper down over to short. Picking it up on the hop is Todd Yost, throwing it to Anderson. Thus is the second out. The second out is recorded as the 6-3 allows Fullerton College to get 2 quick outs and shut down the top of the lineup with Nathan Flores, the right fielder, coming up to the plate.
Batting number 3, Nate Flores.
And there we saw Todd Yost have that beautiful form. He comes in, he just scoops it up, and then he's got the rifle arm, throw it to Anderson for the out.
Lannon delivers a inside strike for 0-1. You look at Todd Yost so far this season, he's displayed his ability to be able to show off that arm. Plays a little bit deeper than recent Fullerton Hornets as this one's hit right down the button over towards center field. Ranging over is Joey Parente to make the catch. That will end the inning. Fullerton College gets out of it. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base for the Santa Ana College Dons. This is Fullerton College Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net in conjunction with Fullerton College TV. All of this is brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you're looking for that new or used vehicle, just go ahead and check out Miller Toyota of Anaheim. You can check them out in person at the corner of the 91 and Euclid, or even check out their daily specials at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com. Once again, I'm Ryan Osborn, joined by Luke Hobbs, as Santa Ana is not able to put up anything in that top of the first.
No, Ryan, that was some start for the Hornets. That's exactly what they need and what they haven't been getting in a lot of these games. We spoke about earlier in their last meeting with Chris Sanchez, their ace starting. He only made it 2 innings. Well, Logan Lannon comes out, gets the quick 1-2-3, and now that sets the tone for the rest of the game.
So we're going to have Gabe Armstrong now on the mound for Santa Ana College, as Fullerton College will send up Joey Parente, followed by Thomas Delgadillo. Chase Kerr is starting in right field and batting third. Jesse Hayes will be batting cleanup at the DH. Aaron Lizarraga, third on the team in overall batting average. He's over at third this afternoon. Jake Anderson is batting sixth. Todd Yost is batting seventh. Tate Brock and Ryan Aguirre round out the batting order for Fullerton College, with Joey Parente now coming towards the batter's box. Left-handed batter for Fullerton College, batting .351 so far this season. 13 strikeouts, only 7 walks to his credit. On-base percentage, like we mentioned earlier, of .395. Crowds the plate with his stance, and Gabe Armstrong will deliver home. First pitch of the at-bat is a strike on the outside corner for 0-1.
Just barely brushes the outside corner there for the early 0-1 count.
So you see, when you mention barely brushing the outside corner, a lot of pitchers have been going with that type of strategy against Joey Parente. They try to paint that outside half, trying to force Parente to go opposite field. As he bounces a high chopper down to third. Picking it up there is Milano, but he's not able to make the play. And Joey Parente is now over at first, as the error will be charged to Justin Milano. So a quick mental error for Santa Ana College. And all of a sudden, Fullerton College has their most dangerous runner on first.
Absolutely, Ryan. We have Parente. He now has a chance to add to that 23 runs scored total. We're going to want to see here if Delgadillo can just advance him into scoring position.
Armstrong to the set. He'll take a peek over at Parente and deliver outside for 1 ball and no strikes. So we're going to take a look at the replay here as Milano gets to it in time, but you saw him take a peek at Parente, as Parente has that speed to be able to get down the first base path. And that allowed Parente to get up to first because it goes off the heel of the glove of Milano. So this one's fouled back to the screen, 1-1.
And Delgadillo, as we said earlier, is leading the conference in batting average at .406, 14th in the state with that number.
So another left-handed batter for Fullerton College, as Parente will take his lead off. Gabe Armstrong is on the mound. Behind the plate is Bobby Vasquez. Over at first is Adam Sendejas. At second is Brian Cromwell. Third is Justin Milano. Derek Riley is at short. Brian Leaf in left. Eric Leaf in center. And Nate Flores is in right.
And Parente continuing to creep despite Armstrong.
There's a breaking ball that goes just outside. And Delgadillo watches it all the way for 2 balls and 1 strike.
Now, Parente has 7 stolen bases already on the year. So you're going to want to watch him if he tries to go for second.
You take a look at Armstrong. Not really taking a look at Parente, as this one just inside. Delgadillo holds up. 3 balls and 1 strike. If you watch Gabe Armstrong, Luke, he only takes 1 peek over at Parente.
Well, now we're going to have that hitter's count, so let's see if Delgadillo takes a swing.
Next delivery, inside corner for a strike.
Boy, that was a beautiful pitch.
And that's the thing with left-handed batters. Most of them typically like the ball down and in as opposed to up and out. But Delgadillo ranges differently, as close to half of his hits have been towards center or left field. Next delivery for Armstrong. He ends up checking over at first with Parente. So the count remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes. No outs in the bottom of the first. We're tied at 0, just underway, as Armstrong for Santa Ana College will deliver home. Delgadillo gets a hold of it. It goes towards the right field power alley. Getting back on it is Flores, and he's able to make the catch while ranging back to that 373 marker right below the scoreboard here at Fullerton Hornet Field.
Yeah, and Parente, he was keeping an eye about halfway in between first and second on whether Flores was going to be able to come down with it, so he's not able to advance. He has to go back to first.
So up to the plate for Fullerton College will be Chase Kerr. And Kerr so far on this year is batting .320, 13 runs, 2 doubles, and 13 RBIs. He has one of the Fullerton Hornets home runs as this ball gets away from the first baseman in Sendejas. Getting over to second is Parente, and he is there in time as the pickoff attempt doesn't work.
And Ryan, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. Just a bit of a mix-up where Sendejas trips all over Parente, and Parente is still fast enough to get up and sprint to second.
And if you look at that pickoff throw from Armstrong, he throws it over towards first. However, it hits the back of Parente, so that's why Parente wasn't able to pick it up in time. He didn't know exactly where the ball was going. And once he picks it up, he ends up going over towards second. So now Fullerton College has a runner in scoring position with Chase Kerr at the plate.
And Parente showing that he's going to try to steal third.
So an error is actually going to be charged to the first baseman in Adam Sendejas.
And that's 2 errors early on in this first inning.
1 ball, no strikes to Chase Kerr. Batting third in this lineup. Armstrong delivers. Breaking ball doesn't catch the outside corner, so it's now 2 balls and no strikes.
And Ryan, we're going to want to keep an eye on Derek Riley here, the shortstop. He's creeping over from his position just to the left of second, closer to third, wanting to pick off Parente.
And the reason why you have the shortstop covering on that play is because Chase Kerr is a left-handed batter, so the second baseman can't get over towards second base and still cover the ground that a left-hander would pull it to. So Kerr stepping back in, and Armstrong not on the same page with Bobby Vasquez behind the plate.
Kerr, a very tall 6'4" freshman from Glendora. You can see all of that size that adds the power to his swing.
Armstrong to the set, takes a quick look over at Parente, and will deliver home just outside for 3 balls and no strikes. So very quickly, the Fullerton College Hornets figuring out that the umpires are not going to give that outside corner strike, as Chase Kerr is at the plate. 3 balls, no strikes. Runner at second is Joey Parente. Got there on an error by Justin Milano and then moved up to second on an error by Adam Sendejas.
And that's interesting, those pair of errors.
This one is delivered towards third, and it ends up going off the glove of Justin Milano. So 2 straight this inning that go off the glove of Milano. And we'll see what the official scoring is in just a moment, because Chase Kerr hits that one right on the button. Milano dives for it, gets there in time, but it goes off his glove, and they're going to give him an official hit. So you'll see it go right off the glove of Milano. Picking it up there is Derek Riley. He tries to throw it over in time, but there was no getting Chase Kerr as he's hustling down the line. Jesse Hayes will be coming up to the plate. That's the first hit of the game for Fullerton College, as Armstrong now in a little bit of trouble with only 1 out. Runners on first and second in Kerr and Parente. Over at first, Sendejas now playing behind the runner. Parente bluffing towards third, and Armstrong is forced to step off the rubber.
And Hayes has that .242 batting average with 5 RBIs, and Parente in second. He's got a chance to add to that right here.
Jesse Hayes at the plate for Fullerton College, batting .148 in limited action. and he takes that one for a strike, 0-1. Hayes, normally a catcher in this lineup, batting DH this afternoon. Bats right, throws right, the freshman out of Brea Olinda High School. So just over the hills behind the left field wall here at Hornet Field. Next delivery by Armstrong. There goes Parente as he's going to slide there in time. The ball gets away, and Parente's going to stay at third, but getting up to second will be Chase Kerr, and both runners will be safe at second and third. So Jesse Hayes on the run and hit swings right through it. It's now an 0-2 count, but getting up to third is Parente on the stolen base. So you're going to see Armstrong's delivery. Parente getting over towards third. He'll dive in safely, and Milano having some trouble picking up the ball this afternoon. That's the third. That goes off his glove.
Absolutely, and Parente taking a lot of contact as he hit Milano there as well.
Half swing from Parente. Getting towards the line is Parente down third. That was actually Jesse Hayes who ends up flying out towards right field. So the runners have to stay where they're at on the fly out to right. It was just not deep enough for Parente to advance on the play. Coach Jason Smith right there talking with Parente, making sure that both Parente and Kerr know what signs are on as Aaron Lizarraga will come up.
Lizarraga with a .292 batting average. He is a freshman, 5'10", from Cypress High School.
So right down the road, Fullerton College taking Lizarraga away from the grasps of the Cypress Chargers.
And they need that because Cypress has a strong team as always.
This one's popped straight up in the air in foul territory towards first. Getting to it is Adam Sendejas to extinguish the fire that Fullerton College was putting up here in this bottom of the first inning. So at the end of one inning of play, you have no runs on one hit, 2 errors, and 2 runners left on base. Our score, it remains at 0 apiece between Fullerton College and Santa Ana. This is Fullerton College Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net, brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim.
You know, Ryan, what I love to see is I really wanted a competitive game early on when we come out here, to not see anyone jump out to these huge leads and then have someone have to crawl back. It's been a great matchup so far, and Fullerton's looking really strong.
And if you look at this Fullerton team, in seasons past, they've actually had Santa Ana's number. Last year they won 2 of 3, year before, same result. But already Fullerton College has dropped the series to Santa Ana, and the Dons are trying to get this win so that way they can advance to third place overall in the Orange Empire Conference.
Absolutely, and you mentioned the last couple of years. Well, if we want to talk about the all-time series dating back to 1961 between Fullerton and Santa Ana, the Dons actually lead it 98-87 going into this game.
So up to the plate for Santa Ana, it'll be Brian Lee, followed by Justin Milano and Derek Riley.
Leaf, another one of those brothers, the 6'3" freshman outfielder from Esperanza.
Bunt attempt there. Ended up being pulled back by Leaf, but it still goes in for a strike, and it's 0-1. No balls, 1 strike, as Logan Lannon delivers home, and that one goes just a shade low outside for 1 ball and 1 strike. Down at third, Aaron Lizarraga creeping in. High bouncer right behind second base. Aguirre getting to it, but he lets it go, and it's going to go towards center field, just getting to the outfield grass. It was Aguirre and Todd Yost who got mixed up. Aguirre jumps over the baseball, and Yost doesn't get it in time.
Ryan, we're actually going to see the ball on that one, I believe, go through Yost's legs. Just a miscommunication there. They couldn't figure out who was going to go for it.
So it'll be awarded as a hit to Brian Leaf. Ends up going right in between short and second as he gets up to first base. Justin Milano, with the error in the top of the first inning, almost allowed Fullerton College to get their first run, and he'll take a high ball for 1-0.
Milano with that strong .324 average, like so many of the batters in this lineup for the Dons.
Over at first is Brian Leaf. Milano out of Sonora High School. Sophomore, right-handed hitter. Next delivery. That running hit is on. Aaron Lizarraga is able to snag it, and an easy throw over to Jake Anderson brings a double play in time for Fullerton College, and everybody is now off the base pass as Aaron Lizarraga with the defensive play helps out the Hornets.
You can't say enough about the value of getting those double plays. You immediately go from having the runner on first about to advance to now 2 outs, no one on base.
Derek Riley will be coming up, starting shortstop, as Logan Lannon starts to work a little quicker as that one goes inside for a ball, 1-0.
It's going to be key to see if Lannon can get some confidence early in this game.
Next delivery, under the knee, so it's now 2-0.
And we would have to say it's looking so far so good for the Hornets pitcher.
Defensively, Fullerton College averaging almost 3 errors per game. And they've looked sharp this afternoon as the first strike goes in there, 2-1.
And that's what head coach Nick Viscardo expected from this group. Said that they had a great practice yesterday.
This one jams Riley up on the hands. Yost picks it up and tosses it over to Anderson for the 3rd out. So no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. The Hornets get out of it with a timely double play by Aaron Lizarraga. Our score remains 0-0 between Santa Ana and Fullerton College. This is Fullerton College Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net in conjunction with Fullerton College TV. But don't forget, Luke, all of these games here on SportsNetUSA.net, they're brought to you by the one and only Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you're looking for a great customer service representative, you can go down to Miller Toyota of Anaheim, a parts and service department that is open 7 days a week for your convenience. Go ahead and check them out online at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com or check them out in person right at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and most of all, education. Once again, that is Miller Toyota of Anaheim.
So, Ryan, coming up next for Fullerton in the batting order, we're going to have Jake Anderson from first base. Then next is going to be Todd Yost, the shortstop. Tate Brock will be third. And if they get there, Ryan Aguirre, the second baseman, is hitting last.
So, Anderson coming up to the plate. So far this season, Jake Anderson is batting .191 with only 4 RBIs. However, he has 10 walks to only 7 strikeouts. One of only 2 Hornets to have double-digit walks as he takes the first one low for ball 1.
Anderson, another one of these freshmen. This is a young Hornets team, and it's going to be key to see if they can tighten up, find some leadership as they head into the tougher stretch of the season.
Armstrong with the high strike as this one's fouled off back by Anderson. Fullerton College in their alternate gold uniforms this afternoon, outlined in white, and they have the navy blue. As Armstrong will deliver home. This one is shaded foul to the right and out of play, so it's now 1-2. For Santa Ana on the other side, they're in their road black uniforms, outlined in white and Santa Ana red.
And Ryan, every time we're out here, I feel like they're wearing the gold uniforms, getting used to seeing that.
Coach Viscardo now always asks his pitcher which uniform they would like to wear that afternoon. As Anderson goes away from a high ball. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It seems like the pitchers really enjoy the gold. Don't wear that alternate powder blue too often, though.
Eric Leaf in straightaway center is over towards right field as this one's hit straight towards left. The left center field as Jake Anderson is able to get on with a hit So that will improve his average as he gets over to first, and Todd Yost will be coming up to the plate.
And there we saw Anderson. He aimed it perfectly right into that left alley in the perfect sweet spot of the defense, right over the shortstop, but too shallow for the outfielders to come up.
As Todd Yost will come up to the plate, and Luke, that's the second time in straight innings that Fullerton College has had the first runner end up being on base. Joey Parente led off the top half of the first inning. This one's fouled back by Todd Yost. He led off the top half of the first, forcing an error on Justin Milano, and ended up being stranded over at third for the Hornets.
However, he did advance to second on an error by the first baseman, Adam Sendejas, as well. So we saw him get two bases off of errors early in that first. Very uncommon.
12-6 curveball goes low, so it's now 1 ball and 1 strike. Jake Anderson over at first, not really a threat to run, has not even attempted a stolen base on the season. At the plate, Todd Yost, shortstop. Displayed his arm a little bit earlier in the top of the first inning as this one's popped straight up. Getting to it is Adam Sendejas, just in fair territory, and he will make the catch for the first out. So Todd Yost pops out, and Tate Brock will be coming up to the plate. Fullerton College has 1 out, as Brock will be followed by Ryan Aguirre should the inning continue. Anderson is over at first as we see the replay. This one's fouled up, and Sendejas was able to get to it in time.
He said no more and did not want another error.
Next delivery from Armstrong over the letters, and it goes for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes.
Brock, a freshman catcher for this team from Hurricane, West Virginia. He's hitting only 186 on the year, but does have 5 RBIs.
Milano just a couple steps inside of the outfield grass over at third. Sendejas holding Anderson on over at first, and Anderson will get back in time. Count stays at 1 ball and no strikes to the catcher this afternoon for the Hornets, Tate Brock. Armstrong to the set, takes a peek over at Anderson and delivers. This one's jammed in on the hands. Getting over towards second is Brian Cromwell. He only has 1 play, and that is to first, as Sendejas is able to make the catch. That is 2 outs for Fullerton College, as Tate Brock ends up getting Anderson over to second.
And that was perfect placement by Brock, where Cromwell had no choice, as you said, but to go to first base, advancing the runner to second. Now we're going to have Aguirre coming up with the runner in scoring position, and Fullerton has a chance to grab a lead early on in the game.
And Ryan Aguirre with a .297 average, only 9 RBIs. Wants to add to that here, as Anderson ends up watching this one go way foul off to the right. No balls and 1 strike. Fullerton College is playing a Santa Ana team that was left just off the state poll. They received some points, including actually 9 altogether, but were just off the top 20, as it was Sequoias, Saddleback, and Merced College who took 18, 19, 20.
However, the Santa Ana team was on the initial poll 2 weeks ago.
There's a strike to Aguirre, and Aguirre not happy with himself after taking that one 0-2.
Snagging that last spot at 20th. Last week they were left off. Like you said, this week also left off, but they did receive 9 votes. Second to only Chafee in teams that did not make the list itself. So they've got a chance to creep back up.
The Orange Empire Conference has 4 teams overall in the top 20, as Santa Ana is trying to creep back in there. Armstrong delivers, and it's fouled off by Aguirre. Count stays at no balls and 2 strikes.
And you mentioned the other teams in the CCC SIA. That's California Community College Sports Information Association baseball poll. This updated today, coming out actually earlier this morning. We have Orange Coast at number 2 in the state. They were number 1 the last 2 weeks. However, a couple of losses to Riverside knocks them down.
Here's Armstrong taking a while and delivers this one low and in the dirt. So it's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ryan Aguirre at the plate. Jake Anderson, as you see there, over at second in scoring position. Aguirre is out of Anaheim High School, redshirt freshman.
And Ryan, if we all take another look at that poll, Riverside City making the big jump. They were at 12 last week. Those couple of wins against top-ranked Orange Coast gets them up to 6 overall. And then if we continue down, Cypress rounds out at 10 to make it 3 OEC teams in the top 10 in the state.
Armstrong gets the sign from Vasquez behind the plate, and he'll deliver home. Aguirre, can he hold up? No, he cannot, and he gets tagged out at the plate on a strike 3 call. So Aguirre strikes out, and that will end the inning with no hits. We're making no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. Our score, it stays at no score whatsoever between Santa Ana and Fullerton College. This is Fullerton College Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net, brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Santa Ana coming up to the plate in this top half of the 3rd inning. It'll be Adam Sendejas, Chris Major, and Bobby Vasquez for the Santa Ana College Dons.
And in Sendejas, it's rare to see someone batting in the 7th spot to have a 350 average. This Dons team is really stacked when you take a look at the guys and how they're hitting the ball this season.
What that allows Santa Ana to do is it allows them to round out their lineup. They can plug in a guy like Sendejas over in that 7 spot, just like Fullerton College last year. If you saw, they were 1 through 7, one of the strongest hitting lineups in the entire state. And they had guys like David Miranda, who was batting 7th and 6th all the time. Miranda had an overall 350 batting average and also was 3rd on the team in overall home runs and RBIs. He was 3rd in the Orange Empire Conference in batting average last season. And what did he do? Batted 6th or 7th because Coach Fiscardo felt that it helped round out his lineup. He had that extra threat at the bottom of the batting order, with Sendejas coming up to the plate and Logan Landon to deliver the first pitch. Sent a little dinker towards center field, and Parente is able to field it as Sendejas gets a single right off the bat.
And Ryan, you talked about the Hornets being 7 deep last season. Well, Coach Fiscardo right now thinks that they're struggling to go too deep at times because they can have the one person get on base, but then they've struggled having the next batter come up and advance them and bring them in. And I think you're seeing that is what leads to the 12-15 record so far in this 4-game skid.
Chris Major will be coming up to the plate at 2:55. This one goes outside for 1 ball and no strikes.
Chris Major, definitely the biggest player on this team at 6'1", 285. He's a righty sophomore from Olu. A lot of local boys in this game today.
Major steps back in. Next delivery from Lannon, as there's a breaking ball, but it stays too high for 2 balls and no strikes. Bobby Vasquez will be coming up to the plate after Major. Over at first is Adam Sendejas after he led off the inning with a single to center field. Lizarraga even with the bag down at 3rd. Aguirre over at 2nd as this one sent deep towards right field, and it will get on foul for Chris Major. 2 balls, 1 strike. Flags in center field, shading towards the 373 marker. In the right power alley, Sendejas will take his lead. Parente, 2 steps towards left. And in left field for Fullerton College, Chase Kerr is down the line. Make it Thomas Delgadillo. As that one goes low for a ball. 3 balls and 1 strike to Chris Major.
And now Major should get the pitch he's looking for. We could get a strike right down the middle, as Logan Lannon isn't going to want to get the walk here and also advance Sendejas to second.
Pickoff attempt over at first, and back in time is Adam Sendejas. Chris Major with a home run and 9 RBIs on the year for Santa Ana College. And for Major, has had a little bit of trouble with the strikeout. Has 8 strikeouts so far in his 55 at-bats. Next delivery, and he hits this one to straightaway center. Going back on it is Parente, still going back right in front of the warning track. He's able to make the catch, and Sendejas has to go back to first. But Chris Major getting a lot of wood on it. And up to the plate will be Bobby Vasquez.
And you know, Ryan, as soon as he made contact there, you were wondering, is that going to go yard? Is he going to get a 4-bagger and then also bring in Sendejas? A lot of power in that swing.
So you see Major with his swing ends up following through on that one. Parente has a beat on it right off the bat. And as he's shading back, make sure that he gets it out of the sun. This one's hit shallow towards right. Getting back on it is Ryan Aguirre to make the catch. Chase Kerr couldn't find it, and Aguirre was there in time for the pop-up. That's the second out of the top of the third inning. So now Eric Leaf will have his second chance at the plate. First time up. Worked himself a full count and ended up flying out to Chase Kerr in right field.
We almost saw that same miscommunication there where Aguirre and Delgadillo.
This one's bunted up the first base side. Logan Landon picks it up, throws it over to Anderson. Is it in time? It is indeed. And Anderson able to make the catch. That will end the inning with no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. No score all around for Santa Ana and Fullerton College. This is Fullerton College Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net.
Let's go, boys. Let's start it off.
Ryan, what a great game we've gotten here today so far. We've seen excellent pitching from Fullerton. The defense has been sharp, no errors. But then on the other side, Santa Ana has had a couple of errors, allowing Fullerton runners on base that you see right there. They're equal with the 2 hits, but we're still tied up at 0.
Fullerton College, they need to get something on the board here. As over the season, when you look at their 3 through 6 innings, they only average about half a run in each of those innings overall. As opposed to the first and second, 7, 8, 9, they're averaging close to 3 runs per inning.
Well, when we come back here, as Armstrong's just warming up, we're going to have the top of the order once again. It will be Parente, who, as we just said a moment ago, advanced on a couple of errors all the way from first to second, stole third, and then was stranded out there in the bottom of the first inning. After that, we'll have Thomas Delgadillo and then Chase Kerr. So that's the entire outfield batting 1, 2, 3.
So Parente will dig back in. Second time this afternoon. Justin Milano, couple steps towards short. Very deep at short is Derek Riley, as Armstrong will deliver home. And that one's in the dirt for ball 1.
And Parente could tell immediately. You saw him just pull up, wasn't going to swing at that.
Over at second is Brian Cromwell, standing just on the outfield grass. Armstrong to home. That's low once again for 2-0.
Parente again with the good vision.
Armstrong on the hill. Vasquez behind the plate. Sendejas over at first. Cromwell at second. Justin Milano is at third. And Derek Riley rounds out the infield for Santa Ana. Parente stares at that one once more, and it's 3-0. The outfield from left to right for the Dons is Brian Leaf, Eric Leaf, and Nate Flores.
So we have both of the Leaf brothers, a couple of Esperanza boys.
Parente watches the strike.
And I'm not going to say who, but someone in this booth might have gone to Esperanza himself.
3 balls and 1 strike. I don't think it was Mr. Pavlovich behind us. So this one is delivered. Parente swings at it and sends it foul down towards the left field line. So it's now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Armstrong was behind 3-0, and now Parente has a full count. Up next, Thomas Delgadillo. And one thing that you notice with baseball players, Luke, is that look at Delgadillo in the on-deck circle, way towards home plate as Parente delivers this one down the left field line. If it gets foul, it will not, as getting there in time is Brian Leaf. So Parente is erased as he swings at a high fastball, and it jams him inside, and he flies out to right field, make it left field.
Speaking of flyouts, in Delgadillo's last at-bat, he did fly out to right field for Nate Flores to just snag it.
But what we were mentioning earlier as Chase Kerr, or make it Delgadillo, sends this one foul down towards the left. It's 0-1. A lot of left-handers don't normally stand in the on-deck circle itself with a lefty in front of them because it gives them that extra chance to be able to see the pitcher. So they'll shade down more towards the backstop. As Armstrong will deliver, this one is bunted foul by Delgadillo, and he wants that one back. It's now no balls and 2 strikes.
As we talk about often, bunting a little bit of a lost art in today's game. We don't see many players be able to do it effectively.
And one of the things for Delgadillo on that play is that he was stabbing at it, and when you're stabbing at a baseball trying to bunt it, it goes foul as you only get part of the bat on the ball. This one's fouled back to the screen. So when you're bunting, as you go up to the plate, you always want to be square with the baseball and follow it. If it breaks down, then you follow it with the bat, as opposed to just trying to smack at it and send it down the third base line. That's when you see those balls go foul. Next delivery by Armstrong goes outside for 1 ball and 2 strikes.
If you're Delgadillo, anything that looks close to the plate, we should expect to see a swing, purely playing defense here and hoping to get a shot onto first.
Armstrong, the 1-2, sends this one down to short. Derek Riley will pick it up, has to throw quick, and he gets Delgadillo in time. Delgadillo hustling out of the box, doesn't like the call, but he is erased on the bounce out to shortstop.
And just as we saw Derek.
So we'll see if we have a replay. We do indeed, as this one is bounced over towards short. Picking it up is Derek Riley. Riley had to rush the throw because of how fast Delgadillo was getting there, and it is a good call as Sendejas is able to grab it in time. This one's a quick hop over to second. Picking it up there is Brian Campbell. Has trouble with it, but he throws it over towards first. It gets away from Sendejas. An error is on the throw to Brian Cromwell. That's the 3rd error for Santa Ana this afternoon. Chase Kerr will be at first. Jesse Hayes coming up to the plate. That's the first error since the first inning for Santa Ana.
3 errors in 3 innings for the Dons. You know, Coach Tom Nillis preaches the fundamentals of this program. He's not going to be happy with that.
This one's sent down towards left center field, but shading towards center was Brian Leaf, and he's able to range over towards his left and make the catch. No runs on no hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on base. Our score stays at 0-0 between Fullerton College and Santa Ana. This is Fullerton College Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net, and you'll see the error here as he gets to it in time. It takes that funny hop right at the end, the in-between hop. Cromwell goes, picks it up as he's turning towards first, delivers it, short arms it, and getting to it is Sendejas. And you see right there, Sendejas tries to be able to stay with his right foot on the bag, make it his left foot, but he drags his foot towards the baseball, and it pulls him off the bag. And getting there in time is Chase Kerr as he forces the error. Jesse Hayes ends up being the batter that gets Fullerton College out of the 3rd inning. So Santa Ana coming up to the plate, Brian Cromwell, Nathan Flores, and Brian Leaf.
Cromwell at his first at-bat earlier in the game in the top of the first. Well, he hit it right to the shortstop, Todd Yost, who rifled it into Jake Anderson for the second out of the inning. He does have that 400 batting average, though, so we should expect to see him make some magic happen for the Dons.
Logan Lannon, first pitch. It's a little squibber over to second. Picking it up there is Ryan Aguirre, and he tosses over to Anderson for the first out. So 1 pitch, 1 out. Fullerton College quickly making work of Santa Ana.
Have to love that efficiency if you are Fullerton. Logan's going to last all day.
Ryan Cromwell. Last year, Logan Lannon did have a complete game, but that one was not in an OEC matchup, as this one is sent down the right field line. That's going to be fair. 2 quick pitches, and Santa Ana is driving all over him. Getting over to it is Chase Kerr. Getting around second is Cromwell. He's going to be in at third safely, and holding over at third is Brian Cromwell as he uses his speed. Ryan Aguirre lost the relay throw underneath him, and Campbell has a stand-up triple.
And Ryan, as you said, Aguirre fumbled the ball there as the cutoff man, and they were lucky that it stayed at a triple because he would have had a chance to go home if there had been any more time.
So digging in is Nathan Flores. Flores on the year, batting .323, has 10 RBIs. Interestingly enough, only has the 3, make it 4 extra base hits.
So now Brian Leaf's at the bag. He's got the .341 batting average, and he had a single to start things off in the second inning for the Dons, where he was then picked off as a part of that double play with Justin Milano.
Delivered outside, as it's now 1-0. So that was actually Nathan Flores who ended up getting that triple. I apologize. Logan Lannon delivers. This one's popped up towards shallow center field. Getting up to it is Parente. He will make the catch. No, he doesn't, as that one lands, and getting home is Nathan Flores.
Parente just not able to get there in time, so he chose to make the safe play, keep it in front of him, and limit the freshman to only a single, but it's going to bring that run in.
So Nathan Flores ends up coming in. And that is the first run of the afternoon on 2 hits. So another RBI goes to Brian Leaf. And checking over to Leaf is Lannon. And at the plate is Justin Milano.
As we said, Milano hit into that double play.
There's a breaking ball, and throwing over towards second is Tate Brock, but that one is way offline. And easily getting the stolen base is Brian Leaf.
So we've got Milano, that strong .324 average on the season for the Dons. And he also has a whopping 19 RBIs, good for second on this team. Now with Leaf over there in scoring position, the Dons have a chance to break this inning open, really get a lead. So here is Lannon trying to recover, a little shaken up, Ryan, as he's had a strong start the first 3 innings. This 4th one, Santa Ana starting to do some damage.
This one's checked foul, and it goes out of play. So Coach Fiscardo over in the Fullerton College dugout ends up getting a warning by the umpire. And while this is baseball, when a bench person gets the warning, it's only 2 strikes and you're out. This one is hit foul off to the right and out of play. So Fiscardo now has the warning. If he gets one more, he ends up being ejected. And Fullerton College is now down 1-0. So the warning for Coach Fiscardo ended up being because he was talking to the umpire, not happy about recent ball and strike calls at the plate. As this one's bounced over towards first, it goes foul.
And there we go. Milano lucky to get that foul call down the first baseline. Otherwise, we saw Logan Lannon running over to cut him off at first. Anderson would have had that easy flip for the out. So here we go. Justin Milano still at the plate with a 1-2 count, 1 out.
So we did get confirmation indeed. Coach Fiscardo was arguing balls and strikes. As Milano will watch the 1-2 and swing at it. Down the tube, it goes over to center. Making the sliding catch there is Joey Parente.
Parente shows off that wonderful athleticism that he has. You almost wonder if maybe he played soccer at one point in his life. It looked like a beautiful slide tackle he's coming in for, but instead he's able to scoop it up.
Derek Riley will be coming up to the plate. Is Parente able to make the defensive play? That's the second out for Santa Ana. They have a runner in scoring position in Brian Leaf. Next delivery from Lannon, as that one's delivered and it goes foul. So no balls and 1 strike. And Luke, you're starting to see something different from Santa Ana College this inning. They're swinging at every first pitch of the at-bat.
And so far it's been working for them. They do have a couple of hits already here with the run scored, the RBI from Leaf. Coach Tom Nillis just changing things up here.
Next delivery goes out and away. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Adam Sendejas is now in the on-deck circle as Derek Riley tries to get on base. Lizarraga even at third. Anderson just inside the outfield grass at first. Ryan Aguirre there checking over towards second as a high ball makes it 2-1.
And Ryan, we see a young team here from the Dons, over 20 freshmen, as Coach Nillis is starting to get this recruiting class going. He's starting to build his program, and in year 2, they're really looking strong. You have to think, are there any standout players here that can advance to the next level?
2 balls and 2 strikes. And recent players that have indeed advanced to quite a high level. You have to start with C.J. Wilson in the MLB, who came through Santa Ana and was under Coach Don Sneddon here at Santa Ana College, or for Santa Ana College. Next delivery, Leaf is running, as this one will end up getting into left field. Derek Riley is going to get an RBI on the play, as Brian Leaf had to hold up for a second and then ends up advancing all the way to home for the second run on the 3rd hit.
So that's going to make the score 2-0. Dons over the Hornets here in the top of the 4th with 2 outs to go. And Ryan, there's so many Dons that have gone on from this program to make an impact on baseball at the next level. You mentioned C.J. Wilson. Another one that jumped off the page to me was Chris Crone, the father of both Kevin and C.J. Crone. Chris, the father, played for the Angels and the White Sox. Both the sons are in the majors, and C.J. currently a DH for the Angels when their season starts tomorrow.
C.J. ended up getting, as this one is sent in, down towards second. They catch him stealing. They caught Derek Riley trying to take the extra bag, so he is erased off the base pass. 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and no runners left on base. Sendejas will get a second chance in the 5th inning. Our score is now 2-0. Santa Ana College has the lead on top of the Hornets. This This is Fullerton College Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net in conjunction with Fullerton College TV. But all games here on SportsNetUSA.net, like the Michelle Carew Classic that will be coming up this upcoming weekend here on SportsNetUSA.net, they're all brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Maybe you're looking for that new or used vehicle? Look no further than Miller Toyota of Anaheim. From the 4Runner to the RAV4 to the Camry and Corolla, everything is down there at Miller Toyota of Anaheim. You can check them out online at millertoyotaofanaheim.com or even go in person at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education. Once again, that is Miller Toyota of Anaheim. So we're going to see the replay in just a couple seconds. Fullerton College now down 2-0 to Santa Ana. And they're in a quick hole loop. As you see, the throw down to Ryan Aguirre at second makes the catch and is able to snap the tag down to Derek Riley.
Quick glove by Aguirre makes the awesome catch, and then he just, as you said, snaps it down, gets the runner out, and that's going to end the inning. But we're back now with Aaron Lizarraga at the plate for the Hornets. This is his first action since the bottom of the first, where he had a pop out to first.
This one's fouled back to the screen, and it's 0-1. And you talk about some of the alumni, like we were mentioning earlier, from Santa Ana College. We mentioned C.J. Wilson. You talked about Chris Crone. C.J. Crone, his son, ended up getting the game-winning hit on Thursday afternoon against the Dodgers in preseason action. As that one's delivered high, it's now 1-1. But then you also look at a guy like Bob Hamlin, who ended up going to the Kansas City Royals, earned the 1993 Rookie of the Year for the Kansas City Royals as an outfielder. Batted close to .297 on the season and ended up playing 10 years in the bigs. As an alumni of Santa Ana College, played under Coach Don Sneddon. This is delivered home. Swing and a miss from Aaron Lizarraga.
And Ryan, if you want to talk about another former Royals player from Santa Ana College to make it all the way to the bigs, we have Chris Medlin, who's currently a free agent, but he did win the 2015 World Series with Kansas City, and he was one of the truly outstanding Dons pitchers during his time here.
This one's fouled back to the screen, 2-2.
Where he set the record for most Santa Ana saves in a season in 2006 with 16.
And we talk about all these alumni from Santa Ana College, and you ask yourself, who did they play under while they were on the Dons? As Armstrong will deliver the 2-2 to Lizarraga. There's a breaking ball outside for 3-2. Now full count to Lizarraga. They all played under Coach Don Sneddon. Coach Sneddon ended up coaching 32 years for the Santa Ana Dons from 1982 to 2013. The 3-2. This one's popped foul off to the left. Getting to it is Brian Leaf. Will he be there in time? Just in front of the warning track. He will make the catch, and Aaron Lizarraga pops this one straight up in the air. But the wind catches a hold of it, Luke, and while it looked like a small little shallow fly, it ends up getting all the way to the warning track.
And Ryan, when we're talking about the aptly named head coach Don Sneddon, in his 32 years here, he set the all-time California Community College record for most wins with 1,072.
There's a strike to Jake Anderson.
But that 1,072 wins might not even be the most impressive accomplishment. He had 16 conference titles and 3 state titles. They had a dominant stretch there in the 90s where they won them in 93, 95, and 96. That's 3 and 4 years.
And once he finished at Santa Ana College, he managed 1 year for the Modesto Nuts, guided them to a 49 and 97 season. Good enough for 10th in the California League, as that goes for 1 and 2. And for Coach Sneddon, he was inducted into the CCC BCA Hall of Fame in 2016, as this one bounces in for 2-2 to Jake Anderson. He's also inducted with Jack Hodges, who was coach for 22 years. And Coach Hodges guided Saddleback from 1990 to 2011. And a career record of 580 wins and 362 losses and 4 ties. Guided the Gauchos to 13 playoff appearances, including 3 Final Four appearances at the state championship tournament. In fact, Saddleback won the state championship as Jake Anderson flies this one out to left center field, and making the catch is Brian Leaf. So there's a fly out. Second straight to Leaf, and that's 2 outs in the 4th inning. And Saddleback, 18 seasons with 20 or more victories, and 8 seasons with 30 or more. That included 17 consecutive with at least 20 straight victories. 1993 to 2009. Coach Hodges also inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Southern California. Coached 41 years at the high school and college level, 922 combined victories.
Sounds like that was quite the class.
Next delivery, hit towards right. Getting to it in time and making the catch over there will end up being Nate Flores, as that ends the inning. 3 straight flyouts to the outfield for the Fullerton College Hornets, and that will end the inning with no runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. Our score, well, it's 2-0. Santa Ana College on top of Fullerton. This is Fullerton College Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net, brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim.
Now coming up next for the Dons, we're going to have Adam Sendejas. Sendejas has had a busy day. He had a single in his first at-bat in the 3rd, and then he's also had an error and quite a bit of action earlier in the game here at first base for Santa Ana College. So we take a second and we think about Coach Tom Nilles for the Dons. He has starting his 2nd season here as the head coach, and he actually spent 6 years previous to that at Fullerton College, as I'm now joined by Avery Jordan. And Avery, in those 6 seasons at Fullerton, Coach Nilles, he had so much success as a part of that 2013 state championship appearance.
He did, and we talked to him a little bit before the game about what his experience was like with Coach Viscardo, and he said he loved every second of it, but of course now he's on the opposition, so he's coming here to get W's.
He's ready to win. There's Lannon with the first pitch of the 5th inning. It's a high ball, making the count 1-0 to Sendejas. There's the second pitch right down the middle. It's a swing and a miss from Sendejas.
So Sendejas is back at the plate, gets a little redo from the last inning. He didn't get to finish his trip to the plate as Derek Riley was thrown out trying to steal second.
There's the low outside strike on the 1-1 pitch. Count is now 1 ball, 2 strikes. And he hits the same spot. Lannon gets the strikeout on Sendejas. He is looking.
Nice strikeout looking there. Sendejas just kind of froze up. Saw the pitch coming, didn't really react, and just let it pass right by him.
Lannon just pitching down and outside, painting the outside corner of the plate. And now up is Chris Major, the DH, in the 8th spot. He's going to swing and just tick it foul behind the pitcher, Tate Brock. In his last at-bat, Major, he lined out to center for the first out of the 3rd inning. His only action of the day so far, and he's hitting .255 on the season.
Well, if it's any indication, his last name definitely stands for power, major power.
Well, we saw that in his last at-bat as there's a strike 2 called. In Landon, he made such solid contact. He pushed it. You wondered if it was going to go over the wall, as it did not. And there is the second consecutive strikeout looking for Landon, off to a great start here in the 5th. So that's 2 up and 2 down. And now Bobby Vasquez, hitting 9th, is up to bat for the Dons.
Bobby Vasquez, 5'10", catcher, 190 pounds. Bats right, catches right, or bats right, throws right, I'm sorry.
And here we go. Landon coming out, throwing heat. There's strike 1. He's getting ahead early in these counts, Avery.
I like to see the aggressiveness coming from the mound for the Hornets.
Strike 2.
This is the complete opposite of games that we've seen in the past recently, like the game against Riverside.
No, Landon is wheeling and dealing, coming out throwing heat right down the middle, painting the corners against other pitchers. There's a swing away on the 0-2 pitch. Just a defensive swing from Bobby Vasquez. Count stays at 0-2, 2 outs. Santa Ana College leads Fullerton 2-0.
It was a good idea to swing at that last pitch to kind of keep the pitcher honest and make him throw him something worthwhile, as there's a ball there.
That one's outside, making it a 1-2 count. Landon just trying to get a cheap swing, maybe. Try to get the easy out here on Vasquez. There's the 1-2 pitch. And he hits the bottom outside corner of the plate once again. That's 3 up, 3 down for the Dons. Landon strikes out 3 straight Santa Ana batters, all looking. So the score stays 2-0 with no hits, no runs, no errors, no men left on base. You are watching Fullerton College Hornet Baseball live on SportsNetUSA.net, brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim.
And remember, all games on Miller, or all games on SportsNetUSA.net are brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you're looking for a new or maybe even a used vehicle, we'll look no further than Miller Toyota of Anaheim. From RAV4s to Camrys, Miller Toyota of Anaheim, basically, it has them down right at the corner of 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education.
And Avery, in that last inning, we saw Landon just coming out, and he was ready. He kind of reestablished himself, as in that 4th inning, he gave up the couple of runs. You wondered, is he starting to get shaken up? Is this the point where Fullerton might have to make a pitching change? But no, he's ready to go.
No, he came out ready to go. He came out firing, bringing nothing but heat, making people second-guess themselves, making the batters second-guess themselves. We saw 3 strikeouts looking up there on Santa Ana's last trip to the plate.
So next up to bat for the Hornets is going to be Tate Brock, the catcher. Tate Brock was as happy as anyone else to see the pitching performance that inning from Landon. He was fired up.
I'm sure he's glad to be back to the plate in order to give the Hornets another chance to score here. Being down 2-0, they definitely want to make sure that they get some runs on the board before this gets too close to the 9th and then backs against the wall. Then we got Problem City.
So Gabe Armstrong still on the mound. Here's the delivery. That one's high and inside for ball 1 to Brock. We're hearing encouragement for Brock from the stands.
Well, that last pitch went right by his face, almost gave him a little facial there.
He batted into a fielder's choice earlier in the game. That one's going to be good for ball 2. So the count on Brock is 2-0 early on. Bottom of the 5th inning, no outs. Hornets trail 2-0 to Santa Ana. That one is just barely hits the outside corner of the plate for the strike. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Armstrong. That one high for the ball. So now Brock will have the hitter's count at 3-1.
Now you can bet your bottom dollar he's about to try to swing at something here.
He has that chance to get on base and get the inning going for the Hornets. Try to ride that momentum from the pitching provided by Lannon. That's a swing. He's just going to hit it foul down the third baseline and even further out for strike 2. So we have the full count. Now Brock is going to have to switch to more of that defensive mentality. If it's close, he's going to swing. Armstrong with the delivery.
Great judgment there.
Brock just swings, fouls it out past the home dugout. Count stays at 3-2, no outs. Fullerton still trying to get on the board in this game as they trail the Dons 2-0.
Tate Brock's batting 186 on the season.
And that's going to be called.
They called it a
Strikeout for Brock. So that's going to be 4 straight strikeouts looking, going back to the previous inning in the top of the 5th. That will bring up Ryan Aguirre, who is going to be the second baseman for the Hornets. He's in the 9 spot. Earlier, he struck out swinging in the bottom of the 2nd for the Hornets.
And he goes
That's a bunt. Armstrong picks it up, rifles it into first at Sendejas, who's going to get the out. So there's 2 quick outs for the Dons.
And now next up, Joey Parente is going to return. Joey Parente batting .351 on the season. On-base percentage, almost .400. Let's see if we can get some production out of Mr. Parente and get the Hornets rolling.
We really can't say enough about him as he swings at that first pitch. It's going into the left alley, but we're going to have Eric Leaf just come over from center field to scoop it up. So that's 3 up, 3 down for the Hornets in the bottom of the 5th. There are no hits, no runs, no errors, no men left on base, and the score stays at 2-0.
Now all games on Sportsnet USA brought to you right here by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you're looking for great customer service, Miller Toyota of Anaheim has parts and service. That department's open 7 days a week. Don't even worry about it. Miller Toyota, visit them on MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com or go in person to the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education.
So Lannon's warming up as we see here. He's coming back out for the 6th inning, having a very strong start so far. He's got a 3.42 ERA on the season in 26 1/3 innings pitched. Coming into today, 16 strikeouts. He added 3 more to that total in the 5th inning alone, where he had 3 consecutive strikeouts while the batters were looking. He is 0-2 on the season and has given up 11 walks, with none today. Next up to bat for the Dons, we'll have Eric Leaf, the center fielder at the top of the order. Leaf.
And Eric Leaf, the 5'10 outfielder, bats right, throws right, freshman from Esperanza.
Esperanza showing a couple of players today in both of the Leaf brothers. There is the 0-1 pitch. Leaf's going to rifle it, but then he will be safe as it's fielded by Todd Yost, and he just throws a laser to Jake Anderson, but it's not there in time. Leaf showing some excellent quickness on the single.
Now, just real quick, one of the best high school softball tournaments in the nation is coming up next week here on SportsNetUSA.net, the Michelle Carew Classic.
So here we're going to see Yost. He goes the extra mile. He picks it up. He's going to throw the dart to Anderson, but Leaf with that long stride just going to make it in safe. There's the pickoff attempt from Lannon.
As I was saying before, the Michelle Carew Classic coming up here on SportsNetUSA.net next week. It's going to feature 5 of the top 6 high school softball teams in the nation, and they'll be competing right here on Sportsnet.
Cromwell with the bunt attempt. He's going to be thrown out at first. Lannon to Jake Anderson, but that's going to advance Leaf to second base. Now he's in scoring position with Nate Flores, the right fielder, coming up. Flores, 5'11", 165. He's a lefty freshman from Orange Lutheran. So here is the first pitch to Flores. That one is going to be outside for ball one.
Nate Flores, a lefty. Guess where he's coming out of? Orange Lutheran. 5'11", 165.
So the 1-0 pitch from Lannon. He gets the call in from Brock. Checks Leaf at second. Delivers it for ball two.
Nate Flores showing a lot of discipline and a lot of patience right now. And now the battery will have a conversation.
Well, Leaf definitely has shown his athleticism today. He's going to try and bring this one in as Flores builds on his RBI total, where he already has 13 on the season. The 2-0 pitch, that's going to be a swing, and it pops up into shallow left center, where that's going to be fielded by Thomas Delgadillo. So
we've seen a lot of flies today.
We have seen quite a few flies. That's 2 outs in the top of the 6th. For the Dons, they have Brian Leaf on, they have Eric Leaf on second.
One of the Leafs.
And Brian Leaf up to bat. These brothers. And that pitch from Lannon is going to be low and way outside, nearly a wild pitch, but fielded by Brock. Heads up play from the catcher.
Brian Leaf, physically the bigger brother than his brother Eric Leaf, who is 5'10". He's 6'3", 185, also out of Esperanza.
Clearly he was the lucky one to steal all the height in the family.
I wonder if he roughed up his little brother.
All right, here is the pitch. That was ball 2. Now the pace slowing down here a little bit. You can feel the atmosphere calming down. Lannon wants to be careful, get out of this inning alive with no more runs allowed. That's a swing and a chop over to third base. Aaron Lizarraga isn't able to field it. He's going to get the error. That's going to bring Eric Leaf in. And then Brian will advance to second on the double. So the Dons bring one more run in. They lead 3-0 in the top of the 6th with Justin Milano, the third baseman, up at the plate.
Now Justin Milano, 6'1", 185 out of Sonora, looking to bring in the man in scoring position on second, Brian Leaf, who actually just got there. Already taking a big lead off the bag.
Here is the first pitch to Milano. That one is high for ball 1.
Now I heard you mention this earlier in the, I believe it was the second inning, when you talked about how a lot of these pitchers have been painting. It's a lot of Sherwin-Williams going on right now, painting around the outside, and it's dripping wet in the corners.
That's going to be a swing. It's going to be foul out to right field, tying up the count at 1-1. As you said, Avery, the pitchers, they're trying to paint the corners. They're using the edges of the plate. But we've also seen Lannon, he came in and he had a couple of those fastballs right down the middle. He's gotten away from that so far in the 6th inning, and that worked so well for him in the 5th. That will be called strike 2. He is ahead in the count now. So now Milano is going to be forced to swing at just about anything that gets thrown his way.
And they don't see the runner go.
And that's going to be a successful steal.
And Brian Leaf sneaks his way, kind of moonwalks his way because you couldn't even hear or see it. Got over to third base.
No, if you're landing there, you want to be a little more heads up. And Lizarraga needs to call out to him so they could try to get the pick off. This is a big opportunity for the Dons. Get ahead 4-0 in the 6th inning. That's a pretty strong lead. That's going to be a swing and another chop out to right field for the foul ball. And if we take a look at that steal in just one moment here, he gets the slide, and then he gets in there below Lizarraga before he's able to tag, and he's called safe. There's a swing. That was going to go into right field, but it will be another foul ball.
He slid right under the third baseman, and he couldn't give him a chance to tag him as he jumped in the air to avoid being hurt.
Very intelligent play there from Eric Leaf. And you know what? He's lucky that he's the shorter one in that case, only standing at 5'10".
And the slide that he did actually moved him out of position, forcing him to take him out of the play.
That was ball 2, finally. And here we're seeing Milano do a great job of working the pitchers. That's going to be hit into the left alley. That's going to bring in Brian Leaf for the second run of the inning. Now the Dons lead 4-0 on the RBI single from Justin Milano.
And now things may start to get out of hand here if the Hornets can't find a way to stop the bleeding. And you mentioned it already, communication's a big thing right now that the Hornets should be focusing on, as you saw the Dons steal a base, no communication. And speaking of communication, the battery goes to have a talk right now. Actually, the whole team is at the mound about to have a little powwow.
You have to wonder if maybe it's going to be time for the pitching change. Landon has had a very solid outing today. Up until this point, he's looking a little shaken. You just saw the graphic up on the screen. They've shot up to 7 hits in the game so far. Now they've got the 4 runs. They've scored 2 runs apiece in 2 of the last 3 innings. It might be time.
Hey, I'm not mad at Landon, but let's take a look at this last replay. Ball was hit out right into the alley right between center field and left field. Scooped up there by the Hornets and try to stop the double from happening. All right, now Derek Riley's at the plate. Derek Riley is the shortstop infielder, 5'10", 170, bats right, throws right out of El Dorado. And Landon's a little flashy today, out there with the baby powder blue glove.
I don't know. To me, it looks a little bit more like a teal or an aquamarine. But here's Derek Riley on the 0-0 pitch, and he's going to be called safe as Justin Milano steals second to get into scoring position. And the Dons are getting aggressive here, Avery.
Yeah, once they get on base now, they've been looking to do a whole bunch of theft.
Derek Riley in his last at-bat, well, he had an RBI single to bring in Brian Leaf, who's had a busy day today. In his first at-bat, he was thrown out at home for the final out of the second inning. That's going to pop up into, go straight at Todd Yost for the third out of the inning. So that's going to be 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left on base for the Dons. They lead 4-0 in the middle of the 6th. You are watching Fullerton College Hornet baseball on SportsNetUSA.net. And we've got a replay coming right here, as this is going to be the stolen base for Justin Milano. He's going to slide, and Ryan Aguirre is just not able to tag him before he gets to second.
Now, he kind of dragged his glove in the dirt there. Didn't really give him a chance to hit the runner. All games on SportsNetUSA.net are brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle, well, look no further than Miller Toyota of Anaheim. From Camrys to RAV4s, Miller Toyota of Anaheim has them. They have them down at the corner of 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education. And one more for you. One of the best high school tournaments in the nation is coming up next week here on SportsNetUSA.net. The Michelle Carew Classic will feature 5 of the top 6 high school softball teams in the nation, and they'll be competing right here on SportsNetUSA.net. The quarterfinals will start this Friday at 1 p.m. and at 3 p.m. The championship will take place on Saturday the 8th at 7:30 p.m. All of this right here on SportsNetUSA.net.
And we are back in the bottom of the 6th. The Hornets trail the Santa Ana College Dons 4 runs to none as Thomas Delgadillo is at the plate. Delgadillo had a rough day so far in a couple of at-bats. He is 0 for 2 with a fly out to right on a strike called.
Now, we talked to Coach Fiscardo before the game started, and he says that sometimes there's a little bit of head hanging when the score gets this way, and they get their backs pushed against the wall a little bit.
There's ball 1.
But he really wants to preach that this team takes ownership and, that they're not entitled to just being good. Right. He wants them to take responsibility for losses or for bad plays, good plays.
There's called strike 2. And Avery, one of the things that he pointed to was this was a younger team. Last season, they had a more veteran, experienced team with a lot of sophomores. And when they had instances, even when they played Santa Ana last season, they got down early in the game and they were able to come back. That one is going to be low and inside for ball 2.
Right, Coach Fiscardo actually mentioned a specific example of a game where the Hornets were down. And, they took a trip to the dugout. Everyone had a conversation. Players said, you know what, let's go out there and get it right now.
That's going to be a foul tip. Just a defensive swing from Delgadillo. And on this team, you look at it, they're very freshman heavy. They have a lot of younger players. Really, Parente is one of the few sophomores that comes in and really contributes on a regular basis, with maybe someone like Todd Yost being the other. There's a swing and a miss for the strikeout.
The Hornets also got they've got Wisner back. He had some unit issues, and now he's back. He was out for about 10 games.
Right.
And Coach Fiscardo is happy to have him back to help their pitching staff.
Absolutely. And now we have Chase Kerr at the plate he is 1 for 1 in the game with a single in the first, and then he advanced on an error in the third. There is strike 1 called early on. And with the Hornets, you get some of these players back, and as you said, Coach Fiscardo even attributed a couple of the losses to that absence earlier on in the season. It was called strike 2. Armstrong is just working low and inside on Kerr.
Yeah, Coach Fiscardo said they had a great practice yesterday, and he tried to explain to him, this is your team. Take ownership of your team and, show a little bit of follow-through and commitment.
And that's going to be struck down to the second baseman, Brian Cromwell, who's going to easily throw Kerr out at first for the second out of the inning. Next up is Jesse Hayes, the big DH. So Jesse Hayes, in his last at-bat, he flew out to left field, and then in his first he flew out to right. Maybe he's due to hit one to center now.
Well, his batting average right now in the season's .242, and his on-base percentage, he gets on about a third of the time, .324. So this might be his trip.
There's a 1-0 pitch. That's a big swing and a miss.
Big chop there
from Hayes. Ball's right down the middle. Armstrong not liking that first call, but he agrees with the second one. Here's the pitch. That's low and outside for ball 2. Armstrong having a very, very solid day for the Dons. He's just one of numerous pitchers on this staff.
Now, actually, both pitchers from both sides have been doing awesome today.
There's a swing. He's going to launch this one up into shallow left, where that's going to be fielded by Brian Leaf for the 3rd out of the inning. So that'll do it for the bottom of the 6th, where there are no runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base for the Hornets, and they are still trailing the Dons 4-0.
Now, all games on Sportsnet USA brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle, well, look no further than Miller Toyota of Anaheim. From RAV4s to Camrys, Miller Toyota of Anaheim has them down the corner off the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education. So Coach Fiscardo actually out here having a talk with the Blue.
And he can't be happy with what he's seeing. And we're going to have a pitching change now brought on by Coach Fiscardo. Ali Anthony is coming in. He actually pitched recently in their last game that they lost to Santa Ana just a couple of days ago, where they fell 11-2. Chris Sanchez got the start, but Anthony was one of the 5 relief pitchers to come in. Fiscardo was very happy with his performance, and now he's going to give him a chance here today. So
now, Coach Fiscardo, like I said before, out there talking to the Blue, he already got a warning earlier in the game. Arguing with the umpires, once you get a warning, you get 2 chances. One more warning, and he's out of here. So likely he's trying to explain himself, make sure everything is clear, get a little explanation from the Blue on why he's calling the game he is, the way that he is.
Right, and you have to admire his bravado as he comes out there and he talks to the umpire. He's a little unhappy with the way that conversation ends. He has this little wave of the hand as he walks away.
Oh, Coach Nick Fiscardo is not scared to let people know how he feels. He already got the warning.
31 seasons and 630 wins will do that for you, along with a conference championship in 2013.
Now, I think it's real interesting that he's going against his, well, would you call him a protege?
I think that would be fair to say.
In Nealis? You'd call him a protege?
Yeah, Coach Nealis, I really like what he's doing here in his 2nd season. Definitely showing that Santa Ana is going to be back in a big way. We are back, and that is a big swing and a miss from Adam Sendejas. Ali Anthony coming out throwing some heat here in the top of the 7th inning. That is a swing and a miss also for an early 0-2 count.
Now, aggressiveness from relief pitchers, the middle relief pitchers, is really what the Hornets have been looking for all season.
Yes, that is going to be a swing and fouled out down the 3rd baseline in the outfield. Count stays at 0-2. And just as you were saying, we haven't seen a lot of aggressive relief pitchers for the Hornets thus far, and that's refreshing from Ali Anthony.
Well, seeing that they're still down 4-0 right now, they need aggressive pitching in order to get people, in order to get their batters back out there.
And it helps when you have the talent to do it. He definitely has the size at 6'4", 190. The sophomore from La Mirada, he is a righty. Throws that one in there just outside. So it is a 2-1 count now. Here's the pitch. And they're saying that Sendejas cleared the base. He went around for the strikeout. That's 1 up and 1 down with Chris Major coming to the plate.
And that's his first strikeout of the day. 3rd strikeout looking for the Hornets.
And now Chris Major, he's had a rough go of it today with a line out to center. Joey Perenne just made a nice play at the ivy for the Hornets. That was ball one.
He's only had
And then in his second at-bat in the fifth, he was a part of that absolute show as that one's thrown or scooped up by Aguirre, who then throws out Major at first. An absolute show put on by Logan Lannon in the fifth as he had 3 consecutive strikeouts all looking. And that one is going to be a 4-3 out.
Now, Chris Major hasn't really had a chance to really get a hold of the ball. You know, he's 6'1", 285. He can really belt it if he gets any part of that. And the Hornets have done a good job at keeping him at bay.
That's a good word for it, belt it. He's got the power. That one is going to be low, but just over the middle for strike one.
That pitch was a little low, but we saw the same thing at the top of the last inning.
And there's ball one, ties the count up at 1-1. And Ollie, he's got a lot of raw talent. He's got 10 strikeouts coming into today. That's going to be a foul tip for strike 2 from Vasquez.
So that makes him 11 now.
11 on the season. In only 11 and now 12 innings pitched. So the top of the 7th inning, Hornets trail 4-0. There's a defensive swing that's launched into the stands.
Yeah, that actually went straight through the net. I've never seen it go through the net and hit someone in the stands before.
So it is now a 1-2 count, 2 outs, top of the 7th. Hornets trail 4-0. That one is low and outside for ball 2. They trail the Santa Ana College Dons. Having a strong season so far at 19-8. Fullerton on a 4-game skid. They're 12-15. Here is the 2-2 pitch. It's another defensive swing, just foul tipped.
The
Count
Dons
stays
are
at 2-2.
The Dons are 4th in the OEC right now. Like you said, 5-6, 19-8 overall. They trail to the likes of 6-5 Golden West, who's in 3rd, and Orange Coast in 2nd, and Riverside in 1st.
Yeah, that one is low. That's going to make it a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Bobby Vasquez doing a great job of working his way back in here. And if they win today, the Dons will then have an even conference record at 6-6 and a shot at 3rd place. That one's high and inside for ball 4. So after getting ahead early in the count, Ali is going to walk Vasquez.
And then next up, the other half of the Leaves, Eric, is coming back up to the plate, looking for a little more action. Maybe put up another run.
Yeah, and these Leafs have really been strong today. Eric is 2 for 4 on the day with a run scored, a couple of singles.
Yeah, and Brian's got 2 runs.
They've definitely had so much of that production for Santa Ana this season. They're both freshmen from Esperanza. They star in the outfield in left and center. That first pitch is down and outside for ball 1.
Now, when we talked to the head coach of Santa Ana before this game, he said that they were focused on just playing their brand of baseball. There was no real focus on today, but we have seen them kind of ramp up the intensity.
That one's also down and outside for ball 2. They've ramped up the intensity, Avery, and they've been more aggressive. Once we saw in the 4th inning when they started that barrage of scoring runs, you know, they were swinging on first pitches. They were going for stolen bases as Tate Brock goes out to the mound just to calm down his pitcher.
A little battery check there.
Brock showing a little bit of leadership.
Which is what Coach Piscardo said he wants to see out of this team.
Yeah. Well, as a catcher, that's your job. You're supposed to help out the pitcher. You're supposed to call the pitches, frame them, and get things going. That one's also going to be down and outside. That is 3 straight pitches of that nature to make it a 3-0 count. and this is not the man you want to do it against in Eric Leaf, who is hitting .310 on the season with a couple of hits today. In the last 2 innings, in fact. That's going to be a strike, right? At mid-level inside, just going to brush that corner. So Leaf should be getting a favorable pitch right here. Look for a swing.
Leaf just one of the 29 freshmen on this team.
That one also good for strike 2. Now, that's a good recovery from Ali to go ahead and make it a full count with Bobby Vasquez on first. 2 outs in the top of the 7th as the Hornets trail 4-0.
Now, this is a good game to use as an example for relief pitching really coming through and being able to work their way back into the count.
There's a foul tip from Leaf. It comes actually just about straight at us. Count stays at 3-2.
Typically, from what, at least from the last game that we did against Riverside, we saw the snowball effect where it was little things that turned into larger things. You know, smaller mistakes turning into head hanging and larger mistakes. And now the Hornets are staying very composed, still in it.
And that's a low pitch, and Leaf is just going to get underneath it as it bloops out into shallow left field. Delgadillo is going to come up to pick it up, throw it to Yost, the cutoff man. It's going to only advance Vasquez to second on the single, but it's also going to bring up Brian Cromwell, the star second baseman for the Dons. He's got that 400 average. Hit into a fielder's choice his last at bat in the 6th. Then he was thrown out at first a couple of times earlier. That first pitch is going to be low for ball 1. So here is Brian Cromwell getting ready to size up the 1-0 pitch. Ali checks Vasquez at second. That one's going to pop out.
Heads
over the Hornets dugout for strike 1, tying the count up.
So working hard and sacrificing just some of the things that the Dons are mentally focusing on. Mental preparation. That was the big thing that Coach Nealis was saying.
He was talking about drilling his team for every situation, being ready. And they've looked sharp today. You've seen that.
And you talked about...
It's another swing that's going to go foul for strike 2.
And you talked about the Dons getting more aggressive. That probably goes with the mental prep that Coach Tom Nealis was talking about to us before the game. He says that that's what really separates them, or he believes that's what really separates them from the rest of the other teams in not just the OEC, but just period. He says mental prep is where he wants to focus his team to get them better.
There's a swing from Cromwell. It's going to go into shallow right, and it's going to be picked up by Aguirre for the 3rd out of the inning. So there are no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 men left on base for the Dons there. They still trail 4-0 in the middle of the 7th. You are watching Fullerton College Hornet Baseball live on SportsNetUSA.net in conjunction with the Fullerton College TV department.
And don't forget that every game on SportsNetUSA.net is brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you're looking for great customer service, Miller Toyota of Anaheim has parts and a service department that's open 7 days a week. Visit MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com or go in person to the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education.
So Anthony Ali comes in relief there for the Hornets. He looks strong, gives up a hit, but he also does not allow any runs. That's the key. The Hornets trail by 4 here. I am Luke Hobbs alongside Avery Jordan on SportsNetUSA.net, bringing you Fullerton College Hornet baseball on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Now, the score may be 4-0, but this still is a battle. The Hornets haven't given up, which is what I like to see. They're still in it, ready to get back to the plate right now. Possibly more production, possibly get a run right here, and make the Dons quiver a little bit. because they haven't really struck any kind of fear into Santa Ana right now. So Santa Ana's looking them dead in the eyes.
No, and we've seen Gabe Armstrong, the pitcher for Santa Ana. He's really been the key today. That he has not allowed anything. The Hornets only have 2 hits to Santa Ana's 8 in this game. He has shut down that offense.
And this is the 7th inning, so he's just been out there commanding the mound.
Now we have Aaron Lizarraga at the plate to start things off for Fullerton. That first pitch low and inside for ball 1
right
to
by the
Hornets' third baseman. And Lizarraga, he's having a strong season with a .292 batting average, 14 RBIs, and he scored 7 runs. He also, Avery, has the ability to hit for power. Here's a 1-0 pitch. That one's just going to barely tick the outside corner of the plate for strike 1, tying up the count. But he can hit for power as well, Aaron Lizarraga. He has 5 doubles and a triple on the season. So he's got a chance to get into scoring position early in the at-bats.
Did you say his slug percentage was .438?
Did I? He does hit for power, and you can see that in his slugging percentage. So the count is 2-1. No outs. That breaking ball right down the middle ties things up at 2 apiece.
Now, it's really an art form to get the ball to break like that right before the batter swings.
We've seen a little bit of everything out of Armstrong today. My personal favorite, he has that 12-6 where it starts at the top and it goes all the way down for the bottom. Gotta love that curve. That 2-2 pitch just outside, making it a full count at 3-2 for Lizarraga. He should be expecting a strike. He's going to swing. He's going to get underneath it, and it's going to go into the left alley, fielded by Brian Leaf, thrown to Derek Riley, the cutoff man. So that's good for a single from Lizarraga, a lead-off single.
Armstrong's definitely trying to dig through his bag of tricks and throw everything at everybody.
Well, next up we have Jake Anderson, the Hornets' first baseman, the 5'11 freshman from Yorba Linda High School, just up Yorba Linda Boulevard in Yorba Linda.
Where's it at again?
Not Anaheim Hills. Yorba Linda. That's right.
There we go.
So Anderson looking to capitalize. He has only a 191 batting average, but he does have 4 RBIs. He had a single. Pardon me. He's 0 for 1 today. That is ball 1.
His on-base percentage is .339, so
it's pretty good at getting on base. That would be great just to advance Lizarraga into scoring position. Todd Yost is going to be up next for the Hornets. That's a swing, and he just pulls it left as it goes out of play for strike 1.
that pitch was really inside. I forgot what movie it was, but play that one close to the chest.
Gabe Armstrong, he's slowing things down now. He's taking his time. Checks Lizarraga at first. There is the throw, and it again curves down for the strike.
Another breaking ball from Armstrong there. Like I said before, digging in the bag of tricks.
Some of the crowd thinking that one was a little bit high, but the refs, they don't think so. There's the 1-2 pitch. That's a big swing and a strikeout for Jake Anderson.
Anderson thought he pulled that one back. Umpire says, nah, you went a little bit too far forward over the plate there.
That's going to make it 3 strikeouts on the day for Gabe Armstrong. That makes it 4 strikeouts on the day. 3 swinging, and he also has 1 looking as well. So now up next is Todd Yost, the Hornet shortstop. He's got a .250 batting average, and he is 0 for 2 at the plate today. That one's going to pop straight up, comes down. Derek Riley calls for it, and he's going to field it for out number 2 on that first swing pitch.
Now, it's just about to mention all the RBIs that Todd Yost has, but forget about it now as he goes straight back to the bench.
Now, Tate Brock, the catcher, is up to the plate. He struck out looking in his last at-bat and then batted into a fielder's choice in the second inning.
And Tate Brock, batting average 186 on the season, on base percentage 265. Struck out about 7 times. He's got 5 RBIs. And he's walked. It looks like he gets beamed.
Yeah, he's going to get just a little bit of contact off that pitch, so he'll advance to first.
So that will make it 6 walks for him on the season.
Well, the Hornets will take that. Brock, the Hurricane West Virginia product, the 6-foot freshman all the way out from the East Coast. I will never get tired of saying that. Once again, he's from Hurricane High School in Hurricane, West Virginia. Next up is Jacob Manzor for the Hornets. He's going to be coming in for Ryan Aguirre. So, Manzor, he has a 148 batting average as a pinch hitter here. He's going to just knife that one, and he will be thrown out by Derek Riley to first base. That's going to do it in the inning for the Hornets, as there are no runs scored, 1 hit, no errors, 2 men left on base. The score remains 6-4. And you are watching Fullerton College Hornet Baseball live on SportsNetUSA.net. I'm Luke Hobbs alongside Avery Jordan.
And if you're looking for a new vehicle or maybe even a used vehicle for the college student in your life or maybe even for yourself, go right down the street to Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Perhaps you're in the military. Well, if you didn't know, Miller Toyota of Anaheim gives student and military discounts. Take advantage of it. Miller Toyota of Anaheim has all the variety and selection that you need at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Or visit them on MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com if you don't have a car. That way you can get to them as quick as possible. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports Anaheim sports, or Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education.
Well, we're going to have another pitching change here for the Hornets as Anthony Ali comes out and Jordan Wisner checks in. And Avery, I believe Coach Viscardo had something to say about Wisner's reemergence this season.
They said that they really missed him. Where'd you go, man? He had to get his unit straight. Had a little bit of school issues, got him handled, and now he's back for business.
Well, let's see what he can do in relief for the Hornets. In his 20 2/3 innings pitched so far this season, he's had an outstanding 1.31 ERA, 13 strikeouts, and he's 2-1 overall. He is the lefty freshman from Canyon High School in Anaheim, standing at 6 feet tall, weighing in at 170. So up to bat for the Dons is going to be the right fielder Nathan Flores. Flores has 1 run scored and a triple in this game on a 1-4-3 day. Flores comes in batting lefty against Jordan Wisner.
Now Wisner's going to have to come in and be aggressive. The Hornets need him.
And there is that elongated throwing motion from Wisner, but he gets into it. That is going to be strike 1.
First game back, they need him to do exactly this.
Well, Avery, I do think you've preached that aggressiveness today. There's strike 2, and they're getting it out of their relief pitchers.
Well, if I had a practice like yesterday's practice, according to Coach Viscardo, I'd be out here pretty upset too. Did a lot of running. And a lot of talking, and they figured things out. And this team's, I guess Coach Viscardo's trying to light a fire.
Wisner's 0-2 pitch is swung and tipped foul by Flores. Playing a little defense here. And for Wisner, you can't overstate the value of having that stud reliever to come in and just clean things up for you, or in this case, keep you in the game here in the top of the 8th.
Yeah, this is managed time now.
0-2 pitch is low and outside for ball 1. Because, they're down. They've down 4 runs to nothing, top of the 8th The defense has been pretty solid today, but they have not had the offensive production to match. That pitch is just a little bit wild.
It's bringing runs in, Luke, and like I said before, we talked to Coach Piscardo before the game, and he said that is a huge issue, bringing runs in, not getting people on, but bringing them in.
Wisner's going to chop that one down into the dirt. Todd Yost picks it up, and he is not able to get it over to Jake Anderson at first in time, so it's going to be a leadoff single for Nathan Flores.
That was a beautiful pirouette, though, right there by Yost.
A little bit of that ballerina background. Looks very athletic, very smooth.
Did he do ice skating?
I don't know. We should go interview him after the game. Get him on the coach's show.
That was clean. Let's take a look at that replay.
So we'll see what we've been talking about here. Flores, he gets the hit. Yost,
nice pirouette.
Beautiful athleticism. And Flores just beats the throw, as you can see. So here's the first pitch from Wisner to Brian Leaf. Leaf, one of those two stud freshman outfielders for the Dons. That was ball one.
Who scored 75% of the points for their team right now. The Leaf brothers just have the squad on their back.
So Brock's going to run out. He's going to just give a quick word to Wisner. And Brian Leaf, he's got, as you just said, 2 runs scored in this game. He's 2 for 2. He has a single, and then he also was advanced on an error and then stole a base in this game as well. The 1-0 pitch is low for ball 2.
Wisner's pitch is starting to drift a little lower into the strike zone and below the strike zone. May want to try to go a little higher and bait him into swinging.
We see him just shaking out a little bit, trying to loosen up, trying to calm down as he's back for the first time. Also, we have a substitution from earlier. Ryan Aguirre is out at second base, and in is Jacob Manzor. So the infield for the Hornets, as here's the pitch, going to be tipped foul towards the right dugout for strike 1. We have Jacob Manzor on the mound. Tate Brock at behind the plate. Jacob Anderson at first. We have Jacob Manzor at second. Aaron Lizarraga at third. Todd Yost at shortstop is going to round out the infield. Then from left to right out, we've got Thomas Delgadillo, Joey Parente. There is the 2-1 pitch. That one goes outside as well for strike 2. Joey Parente in center and Chase Kerr in right field. Now we have the pace of the game just slowing down a little bit as Wisner's checked in. Here in the top of the 8th inning as the Fullerton Hornets trail 4-0 to the Santa Ana Dons. Wisner just going to have a quick dart out to first. Check Nathan Flores over there. Tell him don't even think about stealing second.
Yeah, there's been a lot of theft today.
Wisner doesn't like that first call he gets. Agrees with Brock on the second pitch. Readies himself. Just dances a little bit. Here's the release. And that one is inside, and Leaf, he just gets it a little bit inside on the bat, rifles it out of play on the third baseline.
Do you see that twitchy leg from Wisner when he's on the mound? His right leg twitches a whole bunch.
Yeah, he looks a little bit anxious. I think he's still trying to work out some of the kinks, some of the rust from sitting for a few games. There's that twitch you were mentioning. Ready himself. And that's a swing from Leaf. He makes contact, but that's straight into right field for Chase Kerr. And that's going to keep Nathan Flores at first base. That's the first out of the inning.
Now it makes it easier, I guess, for a left-handed pitcher to throw out someone at first. He's looking directly at the bag.
The entire time. So now we're going to have Justin Milano Up to bat, Milano is the third baseman for Santa Ana. He's got a .324 average. Here's the first pitch. That one's low into the ground. Brock is going to throw out Nathan Flores, who's caught trying to steal second base. What a throw from Brock, and what a great job from Manzor, who just checks into the game to get the tag. So that is the second out of the top of the 8th here at Hornets Field.
That's a great way to push Santa Ana into pressure zone after that last strike. So now they feel that they have to do something in order to keep the pressure on the Hornets.
So that was strike one. The count is tied up at 1-1. Milano, in his last at-bat, had a single. Then he was not able to make it to the base in the first couple of at-bats. So he's one for 3 on the day with an RBI. That was ball 2. The release from Wisner comes in. That's going to be a swing, and Milano just ticks underneath the ball, comes back at us for strike 2. Count all tied up. 2-2, 2 outs.
Now, if Milano can get on base here, next up, Derek Riley will be at the plate, and he's actually made contact, once this game.
That one's going to sky out, just shoot out, and there's no chance as Anderson and Kerr both chase it down, but it's just too far outside. No way they can make it to that one. As you said, Derek Riley, who is on deck for the Dons, he's 1 for 3 today with an RBI single in the 4th inning.
Now, if you're the Hornets, that's exactly what you don't want to see is any more RBIs. You want to keep everyone off of base because it seems like as soon as they get on, they try to steal to get in scoring position, and then they just keep the pressure on.
That one's low, and Brock is just able to keep it in front of him. Manzor comes up. He looks a little frustrated. Now we've got a full count, 3-2, to Justin Milano, Don's third baseman with the .324 average. He's trying to get on base and build this lead, his 4-0 lead for his team at the top of the 8th. Wisner delivers. That one just shoots down to Manzor at second, who picks it up and tosses it over to Anderson at first. So that's 3 up and 3 down for the Hornets in the top of the 8th. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, no men left on base. And this is going to be that attempted stolen base by Nathan Flores, where he's going to be thrown out by Tate Brock.
Look at the timing on that.
And we can see Manzor, he checks in and he's ready to go.
And he just barely gets his foot on the bag before the slide starts.
Able to block the plate there and get the runner out. And Gabe Armstrong is coming back out for Santa Ana. He has had quite the day. Can't say enough about him. He's already pitched 7 complete innings. This would make it 8. He's only given up 3 hits and no runs.
And his breaking ball has been thrown at almost every batter today. And no one's really taken advantage of him.
He has that breaking ball. He also has a curve that's been pretty effective, shown with the 5 strikeouts against only 1 walk.
Also, one of the best high school softball tournaments in the nation is coming up next week here on SportsNetUSA.net. The Michelle Carew Classic will feature 5 of the top 6 high school softball teams in the nation, and they'll be competing right here on SportsNetUSA.net. Quarterfinals set to start on Friday at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Championship set to take place Saturday the 8th at 7:30. All right here on SportsNetUSA.net.
And we are back in the bottom of the 8th. I'm Luke Hobbs with Avery Jordan. Ryan Osborn was with us earlier. Armstrong, he's had an active day with 95 pitches. We said he's had a heavy workload as he's going to come out to start things in the 8th. We've got bees in the outfield, so we see.
They must be attracted to the yellow jerseys.
They're kin. They're Hornets,
Are they
actually.
Hornets or are they bees?
We're having Hornets. We can't say whether or not that's a strategic advantage for the Hornets, but Nate Flores is ducking down out there in right field. just trying to stay safe. We saw this in spring training. I don't remember what teams were playing just a couple of days ago, but they had to hit the deck.
Well, you see, the Hornets weren't scared because they know that they're Hornets, and Hornets won't attack other Hornets.
It's their brethren.
But I heard from the Santa Ana fans over here, they're like, killer bees. I thought they were talking about Wu-Tang. But everyone's safe, and we're set to go right now.
As Parente is going to come to the plate to get things started in the bottom of the 8th. That pitch is low for ball 1 to start things off from Armstrong. His 96th pitch of the game. So far, he's got the complete game shutout. Parente is going to take an elongated swing and just knife that one into the ground. And he's going to be thrown out. Brian Cromwell to Adam Sendejos for the first out of the bottom of the 8th.
Well, he was really pumping those arms trying to get to first. I thought he was going to make it, but just not enough speed.
Well, I think he forced that one a little bit. We saw he took the longer, a little bit looser swing.
He reached.
And it just knifed straight into the ground for that bounce that Cromwell has done a great job of fielding all day. That pitch way outside to Thomas Delgadillo. And Delgadillo, we've mentioned a couple of times, he leads this Hornets team in batting average with .406. Also good for tops in the Orange Empire Conference. Today he is 0 for 3 with 1 strikeout.
He's got 28 hits on the season, 13 runs, 7 doubles, no triples, no homers, but 15 RBIs. No one to bring in right now, so he's looking to increase his hit total.
He also has the 7 strikeouts, but he's ahead in the count here. That one just barely hits the outside edge of the plate for strike 1. Beautiful pitch from Gabe Armstrong. He's been so solid all day. And I love that Coach Tom Nillis is going to give him a chance to try to finish this.
Well, Coach Nillis said that he really believed in his team, although they are young. He said 29 freshmen, but he said he's trying to live up to expectations, and he's trying to push that on his kids to where the kids perform to their top ability.
Right. Well, as we mentioned earlier, Ryan Osborn and myself, and Delgadillo is going to take a swing and foul tip there for a full count, 3-2. He's got some big shoes to fill. He comes in and, you know, Don Sneddon, arguably the greatest community college baseball coach in the history of the state of California with over 1,000 wins. And now Nillis comes in and he's just trying to build his program, trying to get his guys in and instill his values, as that is going to be good for ball 4 and the walk from Delgadillo to get things started here. Now Chase Kerr comes in the bottom of the 8th, 1 out. Delgadillo on first. Hornets trail 4 runs to none.
Now, Luke, do you think Delgadillo has the speed to get to second to steal, or do you think they're going to try to go with another single or a hit to advance these runners?
Well, if he wasn't their best hitter, I would expect to see a pinch runner here, as the catcher, Bobby Vasquez, is going to head out to have a word with Gabe Armstrong. But yeah, I don't think you can afford to take Delgadillo out of this game. He has 3 stolen bases on the season, and you would have to think that Coach Viscardo is going to tell him, go for it. So the coach heads back. Coach Nillis heads back to the dugout.
No pitching change.
No pitching change. Has a word with Armstrong. Looks like Armstrong says he wants to stay in. He wants to finish this. Something you don't see too often anymore, but you gotta love it. So Armstrong. There's the pitch. And that one is low and in the corner for strike 1. Looks like whatever he's cooking up is working for him today.
He's adding a little cumin in there, adding a little cayenne pepper, a little spice.
Lots of spice. Chase Kerr, no slouch, though.
That one's in the dirt.
He has a single earlier. As you said, that one's in the dirt for ball 1. And Kerr does have a .320 batting average with 13 ribbies and a homer in this season. The one thing you got to watch out for, though, he does have the 13 strikeouts. That number just kind of pops off the page at you when you read it. The 1-1 pitch. That one is low and just a little inside. Very close. Called ball 2. Now Kerr showing good vision, being patient. Armstrong, there's a release. That one's going to be low and inside as well. Ball 3.
And now it's a 3-1 count.
Yeah, and you would think that we would potentially see a pitching change here if Armstrong doesn't get it done against Kerr. 3-1 count, 1 out. Runner on first for the Hornets. They trail 4-0 in the bottom of the 8th. There's the 3-1 pitch. Delgadillo is going to go to steal. Pardon me, that is a walk.
Oh, that's a walk. Delgadillo tried to tap into the Speed Force and steal that base, but it didn't even matter.
Well, there's back-to-back walks from Gabe Armstrong after he got Joey Parente, the Hornets star, out earlier in the inning. So, and here is Nilles heading to the mound. That's probably going to do it on the day for Armstrong. So he won't get the complete game. But
still a great showing.
He had a great showing in 7 1/3 innings pitched, assuming he comes out here, and he is going to. He gets an ovation from the crowd. Good for him. In 7 1/3 innings pitched, slightly over 100 pitches, he had 5 strikeouts and 2 walks. Only 3 hits and no runs allowed.
Well, he was doing great, and but you saw as he came off the mound, he was a little upset. You're never happy to come out the game, but
No.
that's just taking pride in doing what you do and being a baseball player.
Well, now checking in for the Dons, in relief, we're going to have Cole Hoskins, the 6'3", 175-pound righty freshman from Tustin High School. So there we see Hoskins warming up. He can throw it hard. He's got a little bit of heat to him.
Now Hoskins, another one of the freshmen on this 29 freshman roster, looking to just close this game out now.
So we're taking a moment here. Hoskins warms up. He's getting ready. Jesse Hayes is going to be the man at the plate in just a moment for the Hornets. Hayes has had a rough go of it today. He's 0 for 3. He's flied out into the outfield all 3 times. 2 of them to left where Brian Leaf has picked him up, and 1 of them to right where Nate Flores, the right fielder, who had to dodge those Hornets, not the players but the insects, just a few moments ago. So here we are, Jesse Hayes. Now he is at the plate.
Now Hoskins has only started 1 game, but he does have a win already. Oh, he has 2 wins, I'm sorry, and 1 start. He's pitched a total of 23 innings.
Here is the pitch from Hoskins. That one is going to be wild. Goes just past Bobby Vasquez, the catcher. And now the runners are going to advance to second and third. So Hayes with the golden opportunity here. 2 runners in scoring position as they trail 4-0 in the bottom of the 8th. 1 out and a 1-0 count. A single here should get both runners in, and Fullerton cuts that lead in half.
Now Hoskins throws a little bit of looks like a sidearm.
Hayes, he's going to just throw it, or just going to nail it into the alley in between first and second. It's going to bring both runners in on the 2 RBI single. Now the Hornets are only trailing 4-2 in the bottom of the 8th. What a play from Jesse Hayes. He came up big in that moment for his team.
Great answer by the Hornets. A great way to sting back, if you will. As we look back at this replay,
Hayes, he's going to see the pitch come in from Hoskins. and then it just goes right in between first and second. Cromwell's dives, he's not able to get it, and then we see Kerr come in safe at home to make it 2 runs for the Hornets. What a play.
That throw from center field just took a little long to get there. They lofted it out just a little bit too much.
So Lizarraga up to the plate now as we got that sidearm strike to start things out against the third baseman for the Hornets. Hoskins taking his time. There's a release. And that's going to be a swing and a foul tip. An early 0-2 count for Lizarraga against Hoskins. And don't forget, those 2 runs, those runners were walked in by Gabe Armstrong, so those are going to be his runs.
Basically gift wrapped.
It's not easy when you come into that situation if you're Hoskins, as that was a strikeout swinging for Lizarraga. 3 quick pitches and he is out.
Now the thing for Hoskins now is to maintain and to not get shaken, because you're the relief guy. So you got to come in and you got to close this out. They've already put up 2 runs, so now this is already twice as bad as when you came in. So you got to be able to stymie what's happening right here.
Now up to the plate we have Grant Woodward. Woodward is coming in for Jake Anderson, who's going to call it a day after 7 innings.
And there's a little bit of a battery check right now by Tom Nealis, and he'll pull Hoskins.
Hoskins only in there for a third of an inning, wasn't able to get it done.
Well, Nealis saw it getting out of control fast, and he said, let me stop this now and find someone who can end it.
Well, he came in, he had that wild pitch to put both of the runners in scoring position, and then Hayes had the perfectly placed shot. Speaking of Hayes, he is going to be pulled out here, and Trey Carter will be the pinch runner on first for him. Carter, he has 1 stolen base on the year, and he scored 6 runs in limited appearances. He's got a .238 batting average and a couple of ribbies as well.
And Patrick Showalter now coming out for the Dons as the relief pitcher for Hoskins. 6 foot 150, bats right, throws right. Freshman from Savannah High School, right down the street, kind of right down the street.
Like we said, a lot of local boys from Orange County in this game. You'd like to see it. He's throwing a nice little breaking ball there to warm things up.
So Coach Nealis, he said there's really no focus to what they're trying, to what he's trying to preach to his kids, but he does emphasize pitching and recruiting. He wants to work on this recruiting class. He wants to get for the next year or so, because this is only his 2nd season. Hasn't really had much of a chance to build, as it takes time, especially in a sport like baseball. But pitching is something that he says that he wants to work on, and like I said before, mental prep. He wants to have his team mentally tough so that they can go into any game, play their game, and leave with a sense of pride that they left it all out there on the field.
Well, you know that he will feel that way if he's able to close out with a victory today. And we are back with Grant Woodward at the plate for the Hornets. The lefty freshman from Damien High School in Laverne. He's batting .280 in his first appearance. Here is the pitch from Showalter. That one's outside for ball 1. And Woodward, he has 7 RBIs along with 1 home run and a .560 slugging percentage. So this is a man that can hit for power, Avery.
Yep, but he also has 11 strikeouts on the season.
And he represents the tying run at the plate, as that is ball 2 thrown his way with Trey Carter on first base. He is a pinch runner in for Jesse Hayes. That one's outside for ball 3. And the Hornets, we're seeing signs of life.
Yeah, they might be able to walk their way right back into this one. See what I did there? And
Carter, he's a freshman as well. He's 5'8", 165. Not the biggest guy. There's the walk you just said.
Yes.
Showalter comes in. Not the best start for him, as that's going to advance Woodward to first and Carter to second. So now we have Todd Yost, the shortstop, one of these Hornets leaders, one of the few sophomores you're going to see in this lineup. He's 6'2", 195, another one of these local boys from El Dorado High School in Placentia.
Had
a few times, so just down the road.
Had a few flyouts earlier in the game. One over to first base and the other out into right field. So he loves that right side of the diamond.
Right, and he represents the winning run now at the plate. Pardon me, the leading run. But the key number that we want to keep in mind with Yost, he has the 250 batting average, but most importantly, 11 RBIs. Now with Carter in scoring position. Showalter, he gets the pitch in from Vasquez. Here it is. Yost makes solid contact, and it's going to fall just in front of Nate Flores. Carter's going to come in, and they're going to call they are going to call Grant Woodward
safe at third.
Safe at third.
So that's another run scored for the Hornets, now down by 1.
That was actually Austin Case. He was a pinch runner. Now he is safe at third. We have Todd Yost at second on the RBI double as we get this replay coming in. And Trey Carter scores to make it 3. So there's Case taking off. He's going to round second and head to third. We're going to see him come in with the slide, and he is clearly safe. What an effort from Justin Milano at third, but he is just not able to get it done.
That was a beautiful slide there. Probably spent a lot of time on social media sliding into DMs. That was a great slide. Now, if we look at the schedule for the Hornets, you talked about magic numbers. I just want to take a look at the entire schedule for the Hornets. When they score 5 runs or less, they lose. If they can score more than 5 runs in this game, statistically, well, just looking back at who they played and the scores from the last couple games, they'll win if they score 6 runs.
Yes, they will. Well, they're getting close to that number as they only trail 4-3. They're clawing back here in the 8th inning, and this is going to be another pitching change as Guillermo Sanchez, the 6'2" sophomore who weighs in at 155, he's a righty from Godinez. He's about to check in for the Dons as they are reeling a little bit here, Avery. Coach Nilles probably, he's starting to sweat things out a bit.
You know, you got to think right now, maybe you should have left Armstrong in to just finish it out and let him kind of grind it out. But he did throw 7 innings. So giving him rest, I can live with giving him rest. But when you see what's happening with the relief pitching, it kind of makes you a little uneasy, especially seeing that the Hornets are getting their mojo back together. The dugout's awake again. Everyone's talking. Everyone's up.
So here's Tate Brock, the catcher. He's going to stay in. He's up to the plate. He was hit by a pitch earlier in the 7th inning where he got the walk and he was left stranded. He struck out looking in the 5th, and then he was thrown out on a fielder's choice in the 2nd. We have runners on 2nd and 3rd. The leading run is at second base in scoring position, and Brock, with a single, has a chance to give his team the lead. Guillermo Sanchez with a release. That's a knife, and that one is thrown to Milano, who fields it, and then Brock is thrown out at first, so they're not able to get any more runs out of that. But the Hornets put up 3 runs off of 2 hits. There are no errors and 2 men left on base. We are headed into the top of the 9th as they trail the Santa Ana Dons 4-3, and you are watching Fullerton College Hornet Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net.
I wonder if we can get that replay.
I'm Luke Hobbs alongside Avery Jordan as we are going into the 9th in what has turned out to be a great one, Avery. And we will have another pitching change here as Jordan Wisner is coming out. And, oh, pardon me, Jordan Wisner stays in the game. So here we're going to see Yost.
There's that pirouette from earlier in the inning.
Where he just wasn't able to get Flores out, but then Flores was later picked off.
Right
Yost
here.
making the great play there.
They get that leg off my bag. Now, we mentioned before, magic number for the Hornets right now is 6. So that was a great bravado, a great way to, well, the glass looked pretty empty. Now it's half full right now. So they need to take advantage of this, play some good defense, good solid defense, keep the Dons batters at bay, or if you let them get on first, that's fine. Keep them from stealing. And there needs to be smart pitching because we've seen the Dons pitching waver slightly. Well, a little more than slightly. It's been faltering somewhat. But this is the Hornets' chance to really make a comeback.
So we're going to have quite a few changes here for the Hornets defense. We're going to keep Jordan Wisner on the plate as he throws it to Derek Riley, who's going to have a foul tip to start things off. Then we still have Tate Brock behind the plate. We have Aaron Lizarraga, who's switched from third to first. Daniel Turfs checks in at second. Austin Case now at third. There's the 0-1 pitch. That's high. Tying things up at 1-1. Todd Yost stays at short. And the outfield remains unchanged with Thomas Delgadillo in left, Parente in right, and Chase Kerr in, Parente in center, and Chase Kerr in right. That's strike 2. Wisner getting ahead in the count once again, as he likes to do. And that one, he puts a little juice behind it, but it is outside for ball 2.
Now the Hornets are going to look to kind of keep momentum going through the rest of this game and into the next game because on April 4th they fight against the Big Bad Wolf in as that one's tipped. The Big Bad Wolf in Orange Coast on April 4th.
And as we had mentioned earlier in the game, Avery, Orange Coast, they've been ranked as the #1 team in the state for much of the season. This week they took a little bit of a dip, losing 2 games to Riverside. They should be playing their third right now. That is a strikeout looking for Wisner. What a pitch outside and down. But now Orange Coast, so they're actually sitting in second in the OEC to Riverside.
And second in the state poll standings.
And second in the state poll standings by all the sports information directors of community colleges around the state of California. Riverside bumping up from 10 to 6 now because of their recent success.
On a 4-game win streak.
Adam Sendejas up to the plate. Sendejas has a couple of strikeouts and a single in this game. That's ball 1 thrown his way.
He struck out looking both times.
So Wisner been pretty solid in relief here for the Hornets. That one's low and outside for ball 2. And the Hornets, they have a chance here, Avery, to really clamp down defensively and then ride that momentum you spoke about into the bottom of the 9th where maybe we could have a walk-off. Sendejas tips out one foul. What a treat this game has turned into.
You know, the fact that they were able to battle back the Hornets, and now this is more of a down-to-the-wire game, it's really made it a lot more interesting. Now
that's ball 3.
Now that we've gotten a chance to see the Hornets' bravado.
Well, that 3-run 8th inning is going to end up being the key, and then whether or not they can hold on here and then finish it off in the 9th will take care of things. That's going to be a walk from Wisner for Sendejas.
But not only is it refreshing for us, but it's refreshing probably for Coach Friscardo, who wants to see heart out of this team.
And now we're going to have a pinch hitter coming in for Chris Major. It is now Julio Rivera, the 5'10" sophomore righty from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico!
And he will be coming in at DH. That is Julio Rivera. We're getting a Spanish lesson behind us from a couple of our fellow broadcasters.
I had no idea that Mark Pavlovich was fluent in Spanish.
I know, he has a wonderful accent. So Wisner's going to be done for the day. He's checking out. Gets an ovation from the crowd. And they are sending in number 15, Austin Mills, the 6'1" righty freshman from Apple Valley. That one not down the road. That one's a little bit further. He's got a 6.57 ERA in 12 1/3 innings pitched and 9 strikeouts. He has 1 start on the season, and he's hit 4 batters, something to keep an eye on here.
He's given up about 10 runs, 9 errors.
So, Austin Mills coming in, hopefully going to close things out for the Hornets. They, Avery, you look at it, they're going to end up going through 4 pitchers, maybe more if they make any more switches. But they got that strong start from Logan Lannon. That's what Coach Nick Viscardo really wanted. So Logan Lannon, he had that strong start. He got 6 innings. They got 6 innings out of him. He gave up 4 earned runs, but he did have the 5 strikeouts to go along with it.
And Lannon had a great performance in the beginning of the game.
He was key. This game could have been a lot worse. They could have been completely out of it by the time we're rolling into the 9th inning here. Austin Mills, it looks like he's finally ready to go. And now up is Julio Rivera, the 5'10" Puerto Rican freshman.
But you can't put all of the pressure on the pitcher. Yes, they are a very important part of the team, but batting is also important. And if you can't bring people in, you can get on base, that's fine. But if you can't bring runs in, it's all for naught. So Coach Viscardo talked about capitalizing on that and that really improving on their efficiency.
So that is going to be a strike right off the bat for Mills, an 0-1 count to Rivera. Tate Brock, the catcher, helping ease him into the game. Hornets trail only by 1 run now, 4-3 after that big 8th inning here in the top of the 9th with 1 out. Runner on first. That pitch is low into the ground, but Brock does a great job of facing it and keeping it in front of him, not allowing the runner to advance.
Now this is a battle, and like Coach Tom Nealis said, Orange Empire, they're going to beat up on each other. Winning conference championships, if you're lucky to, it's great.
There's a swing from Rivera on the low pitch, and Kerr is not able to get it before it falls down, so Yost is going to throw it to Turfs while Rivera tries to steal second, and Turfs tags him for the out.
Turfs almost took off his faux hawk right there.
And let's take a look at this replay as you're seeing Rivera there jog off the field after being picked off for the second out. So Kerr chases this one down in right field. He can't get there in time, so he's going to scoop it up off the bounce and throw it into Yost, who actually does not field it cleanly there. Nearly an error, but it works out for them because now Rivera's running to second. Turfs goes to cut him off. and he gets in front of him for the tag and the second out.
And he grabs the faux hog to make sure that it's still in place.
However, that is going to advance Sendejas to third.
Like I was saying before, Coach Neela said, winning conference championships, if you're lucky enough to, because there is a lot of luck in winning a conference championship. It's great, but if an Orange Empire team gets into the playoffs, they've got a strong chance at winning the state title every year, and that's a direct quote from Coach Neelis. 13 of the past 27 state champions have been from the OEC, so at least half the time, OEC is winning state. Cypress has 5, RCC has 4, after three-peating from 2000 to 2003. Orange Coast has 3 after winning in 2009, and then back-to-backing in 2014 and 15. And Saddleback's got 1 from 2004. And the team that won last year, Santa Rosa, they're from the Big 8 conference. So most of the time, the Orange Coast is winning. Or Orange Empire conference, I'm sorry.
Avery, we're going to have another pitching change here. Austin Mills is going to come out. Garrett Molnar is about to check in. Coach Nick Viscardo, I guess, just needed to change things up a little bit, get a little bit of juice. And the reason behind that, Molnar has a 1.11 ERA, which is tops in the OEC. So as we take a moment to just recap what's happened in this game, it was competitive early on, but scoreless until the top of the 4th, when the Santa Ana Dons put up 2 runs, making it 2-0. Fast forward to the 6th, now they put up another 2, making it 4-zip. Fullerton trailing until the bottom of the 8th inning when they rally to score 3 runs and bring it within 1. Now here we are in the top of the 9th as it's 4-3 Santa Ana over Fullerton with 2 outs to go. Nate Flores has scored 1 of the runs for the Dons. Brian Leaf bringing in 2 of the others. And Eric Leaf rounds it out with the 4th run.
And for the Hornets, Thomas Delgadillo, Chase Kerr, and Jesse Hayes all scored in that 8th inning.
And the Dons have had a bit of an issue in the infield. They've had 4 errors in this game to the Hornets 1. The Hornets average almost 3, so they've been cleaning it up just a little bit. If we talk about some of the key plays we had, if I had to boil it down to one, Avery, I would say it was Jesse Hayes coming up to the plate with the runners on 2nd and 3rd, and he just hit it in the alley in between 1st and 2nd to bring in those 2nd and 3rd runs in the bottom of the 8th, and he made it close for his team. Now Molnar has a chance to finish off the Dons, and then Fullerton can try to win this game in the bottom of the 9th.
I'd actually say the big thing for the Dons, the biggest decision that they made was leaving Gabe Armstrong in 1 more inning.
He put together an impressive showing today. That's a ball thrown by Molnar to Bobby Vasquez, the catcher, who had a walk in his last at-bat off of a full count. Also has a strikeout and a pop fly. That one is inside and just hits the corner of the plate. Tie things up at 1-1.
2 outs now.
And Molnar really has been a stud for this Hornets team. In addition to that 1.11 ERA, there's strike 2 right down the middle. Beautiful pitch. He also has 32 1/3 innings pitched and 33 strikeouts, including a save. This would make it 2 if they're able to pull off the win. Molnar, he throws it outside and low.
Vasquez knows better than to not reach for that one. That would have been a golf swing.
Now you can feel the tension building a little bit. There's a little more excitement. Molnar, he likes that pitch from Brock. Delivers it. And Vasquez is going to swing and just drive it foul. It bounces into the ivy.
That's a good pitch. And also, man, it's a good decision to swing at that That's a great little duel that was going on right there.
And don't forget, we have Adam Sendejas standing there at third. He's ready to come home and pad this lead as the teams are prepared to duke it out in the bottom of the ninth. Here's Molnar. He throws it high, so we've got a full count. Bobby Vasquez standing at the plate, still looking for his first hit in this game. And he's only hitting 188 on the season. The 5'10" catcher, the sophomore from Servite. He got a chance to build it. He launches that one into left field.
They need to grab it.
Delgadillo backs up into the ivy. He just grabs it out of the air like nothing. So, in the top of the ninth, the Santa Ana College Dons have no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base as they hang on to a 4-3 lead here at Hornet Field. And you are watching Fullerton College Hornets baseball live on SportsNetUSA.net. I am Luke Hobbs with Avery Jordan.
And all games here on Sportsnet USA are brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you're looking for a new or maybe even a used vehicle, we'll look no further than Miller Toyota of Anaheim. From RAV4s to Camrys, Miller Toyota of Anaheim has them down the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education.
Well, Avery, this is going to do it for us. Really, really excited to see how this game winds up.
Now it's game time. We've eaten all of our vegetables. Okay, it's been 8 whole innings. We've eaten all of our vegetables, almost 9. Now it's time for the meat. Okay, this is where the excitement comes. I can feel actually Ryan Osborn's excitement from behind me. It's getting extremely giddy.
All we want is some good baseball here. Guillermo Sanchez is going to remain on the mound for Santa Ana. They're warming up. And Jacob Mansour, who's batting in the 9 spot from second base, is going to lead off the 9th. Bottom of the 9th for the Hornets. They need 1 run to send it into extra innings. They need 2 to close out the win and prevent the season sweep against Santa Ana.
And what's the first thing Coach Piscardo talked to us about today? Clutch hits. Clutch hits, and defense. Right now is when the clutch hits come into play.
There's ball 1 from Sanchez to Mansour. Mansour only has a 148 batting average. He does have 3 RBIs and 4 runs, and he's drawn 3 walks. There is ball 2 from Sanchez. The tying run at the plate for the Hornets. He's getting ahead in the count. The crowd is getting into it. Sanchez winds up. He delivers.
Ooh.
That one is outside as well for ball 3.
That pitch did a little sideways wave at the batter. Went a little bit back to the outside.
And
now Mansour, he's only been walked 5 times, so I doubt he's going to be walked in this trip right here.
And there is the walk for Mansour.
Was that a strike? That was.
They are calling that a strike. He was halfway to first, and then he has to just turn around and come back. Takes a second to gather himself. And he's ready to go. So here's Sanchez with a 3-1 pitch on the way. He delivers. Mansour, and he just bloops that one right to Cromwell at second, who picks it up for the out.
Slightly anticlimactic, but
so now we have Joey Parente, the Hornets do-it-all man, up to the plate in the bottom of the 9th. They need 1 run to tie it. There's 1 out. Parente, he takes that first strike from Sanchez. Lean back a little bit. And Parente has not had much luck today. He advanced on an error in the 1st. He had a fly out in the 3rd, a fly out in the 5th, and hit to the second baseman.
Nice
like
grounder.
He does here, but he gets a single as Derek Riley, the shortstop, comes up to grab the grounder. but he decides better than throwing it to first. And
And
Parente gets a single.
The Hornet crowd and dugout starting to feel it now.
So Parente, the tying run at first, with Thomas Delgadillo coming to the plate. And Parente is always a threat to steal. Look for him to go for second base. He has 7 stolen bases on the season. Delgadillo also an excellent batter at 406. He calls timeout.
Now, I love what I'm seeing from the Hornets bench right now. Mike Cavelli right now is getting extremely hyped.
Mike Cavelli, a fan favorite. Definitely one of ours.
Long flowing hair. Probably Pantene Pro V.
He's ready to go. Parente cheating off first. Delgadillo. That is ball 1 thrown outside.
Now, it's risky for you to try to steal right here because then if you get picked off, that's 2 outs, and now your back is against the wall even more.
Absolutely, but you have to get in scoring position here. Then a single would tie the game up for the Hornets.
But he's got to be confident in his speed.
He is aware of Parente at first. Delgadillo, he takes a hack at it, but that one is going to fly out of play on the left, tying the count up at 1-1. Delgadillo, like we said, he has that 406 RBI, but he also batting average, but he also has 15 RBIs on the season. Hornets trail 4-3. 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. The count is 1-1. Joey Parente, the Hornet first team All Orange Empire Conference center fielder, standing at first. Delgadillo, the OEC batting average leader, standing at the plate. Guillermo Sanchez is the pitcher.
Parente lurking, trying to be a threat.
He's going to take off.
No, he thought better of it. He could have made it.
He thought about it.
He could have made it, but he thought about it way too long.
And Bobby Vasquez, the catcher for the Dons, very heads up there. That was a ball, by the way, making it 2-1. He is not going to let Parente get a clean look at second base. So Brian Cromwell, the second baseman, and Derek Riley, the shortstop, are going to have to be heads up here. And that's a swing and a miss from Delgadillo. The count is tied up at 2-2. If you're the Hornets, this is the situation you want. You've got your 2 best players here. Parente can steal second. Then you've got a chance to tie things up, and this is about as good as it gets.
Well, Delgadillo needs to hit like a double here. He has no homers on the season. He's got 7 doubles. This is what they need in order to get another runner in scoring position.
And that is a strikeout looking as Guillermo Sanchez just barely nicks the left side of the plate.
That looked like it was really outside to the left.
Well, that is the call from the blue. And now Chase Kerr comes to the plate with his back against the wall.
But the S might be on his chest.
Parente, the tying run is at first. Kerr, the winning run, is at the plate. It is the bottom of the ninth. Hornets trail 4-3. Here's the first pitch. That one's low, and Parente is going to take second on a pitch that is not cleanly fielded by the catcher, Bobby Vasquez. Now the tying run is in scoring position for the Hornets.
And now stuff gets real.
So Kerr standing at the plate. All he needs is a single to bring Parente in. Parente has the speed, so he can do it.
Well, he's got 3 doubles on the season, and he's got a homer. So, he's got 13 RBIs as well. Low likelihood of him hitting a homer, higher likelihood of him bringing that run in.
He has a .320 batting average. And of his 13 RBIs, number 14 would definitely be the biggest here, as the pitching coach for the Dons is going to head out to the mound.
Now, you've been mentioning it all game. The Hornets have been taking advantage of the alleys, especially out in left field.
Yes. Well, Kerr comes in, and he is a left-hander, so they tend to hit opposite. So you would expect to see a shot down the right alley in between first and second, somewhere in there. It's 373 all the way down into the ivy. He's just standing there. He's ready to go. You can tell he's in the zone.
They've got some speed in their outfield. The best, well, I don't even know what the best type of hit would be to do right now. Would it be to have it to hit a double on the infield, hit a double in the outfield?
Well, if you're Kerr, I think that you want to make contact and you want to get the ball into the infield, into the outfield. Even if that is a grounder, that's okay.
I mean, he could hit a flare or like a little Texas leaguer.
Maybe a little frozen rope action.
If he hits a little Texas leaguer right in front of the outfield and in between the infielders, that could provide some time for people to run the bases.
That's a big swing and a big miss from Kerr on that breaking ball. As it just breaks outside and low. So the count is tied up at 1-1. Guillermo Sanchez, he's ready. He's not even looking at Parente, leading off of second.
Parente is not trying to run right now.
Here is the 1-1 pitch. That's in. That just barely is going to hit outside on the plate for the strike. So it's 1-2. Hornets have to have a hit here or a walk. One more strike and they are done. Parente, he stands on second. He is the tying run. Kerr, the 320 hitter in right field, he is at the plate.
Pressure's on.
Sanchez, he takes a look as he takes a second gander at Parente.
Oh. The tension is just
it is
mounting.
palpable. You can cut it with a knife here. These teams are ready. And then warming up on deck is John Zanzi. He would be the next batter for the Hornets if Kerr is able to pull off a hit here.
That's only if he takes the red pill. But if he takes the blue pill, the Hornets go home.
Sanchez, he takes another look over at Parente. He's ready. The 1-2 pitch comes in. It's a hit, and Kerr, he delivers into left field. It's going to bring Parente in. The Hornets tie it up. Kerr on the RBI single in the bottom of the ninth. The game is all tied up at 4 apiece. The Hornets have life, Avery.
Oh, he's so hyped. Look at Aaron Lizarraga.
And the stands explode. The bench is cleared. The teams are excited and ready to go. With
Life
Mike
has
Cavelli
finally
serving as the hype man.
Life has finally been given back to this Hornets team. And let's take a look at that replay.
Here's Parente coming in for the game-tying score. He gets the slide. Got to look good while you're doing it. And we have new life here. It is a new game. The Hornets have tied it up 4-4. Here is the pitch from Sanchez. It is a strike to John Zanzi.
There are 2 outs, so they can't slack right now if they want to win this game. They need to bring somebody in.
Well,
Chase Kerr's on first.
Chase Kerr is on first. He is the winning run. Zanzi is at the plate. Zanzi, a 307 hitter. That one's low to tie the count up at 1 apiece. And Avery, I just cannot believe it. We have gotten such a great game today. The Hornets have made it interesting here, scoring 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th and 1 so far in the bottom of the 9th to tie things up. Here is the pitch. Zanzi just hacks at it. That one, he's going to be thrown out at first to end the 9th. So, in the bottom of the 9th inning, we have 1 run, 1 crucial run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 runner left on base as we head to extra innings. Here from Hornet Field on the campus of Fullerton College. I am Luke Hobbs alongside Avery Jordan. And you are watching Fullerton College Hornet Baseball on SportsNetUSA.net.
And just in case you forgot, just because we're going into extra innings, that doesn't change that Miller Toyota of Anaheim brings you all the games here on SportsNetUSA.net. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle, look no further than Miller Toyota. From RAV4s to Camrys, Miller Toyota of Anaheim has them down the corner off the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education. And also, in case you forgot, one of the best high school softball tournaments in the nation is coming up next week here on SportsNetUSA.net, the Michelle Carew Classic. That will feature 5 of the top 6 softball teams in the nation, and they'll be competing right here on SportsNetUSA.net. The quarterfinals start this Friday at 1 and 3 p.m. The championship takes place on Saturday the 8th at 7:30 p.m. All of the action will be seen right here on SportsNetUSA.net.
Avery, we are back here in the top of the 10th. The first time we've been able to say that all season. Garrett Molnar stays in the game for the Hornets as he delivers a ball, and that is to Eric Leaf. We are back at the top of the order for the Dons. Leaf, the standout freshman, out in left field. That one is high for ball 2.
Eric Leaf has scored. He scored one of the runs for the Dons today. His brother scored 2 more.
And that one is high and inside for ball 3. Molnar off to a shaky start here. And Leaf. And he's going to take the walk there. That's 4 pitches, 4 balls, and a walk, and a runner on first for the Dons. And now the pitching coach is going to head out and have a word with Molnar along with Tate Brock.
Now, who do you think they're going to throw out there next for the Hornets?
I would expect to see him stay in the game here. I think they're going to tell him just to calm down and because he's been such a consistent presence for them all year. We've talked about that 1.11 ERA. I think this is the man you want on the mound, Avery.
Now, if we take a look back at all the action that's happened, like we said before, the Leaf brothers, a lot of production. Nate Flores also scored another run. We've had a lot of strikeouts looking from the Santa Ana side. Not really striking out, swinging, not being as aggressive at the plate, more aggressive from the mound.
So Molnar is going to stay on the mound for the Hornets. Brian Cromwell, the second baseman, is up to bat. Molnar with the pickoff attempt of Leaf at first to Lizarraga. He does not get him out. He just keeps him honest, tells him you cannot try to steal second. Here's Molnar. And Tate Brock, he's ready to try to pick him off at second.
Now, Joey Parente for the Hornets. I'm sorry. Thomas Delgadillo for the Hornets, Chase Kerr, and
the 1-0 pitch is a strike, 1-1.
And Jesse Hayes providing all of the production for the Hornets as of late. And now on the other side, like I said before, the Leaf brothers, and where you really want to see the Hornets do well is play a lot of defense. So they want to play defense against power hitters that can knock the ball in between the alleys, like you said before, and create time for the runners to go, time for the base runners to make their move.
Right, well, all of that Hornets action has come of late, with 4 runs coming in the 8th and the 9th. That Parente run to tie things up. There's the 1-1 pitch, which is a strike, as Cromwell was attempting the bunt, and Leaf is on first, trying to cheat over to second. All of that action in the Parente run was about as exciting as it gets, tying things up, sending it into extra innings, and you can't write it any better. The Hornets are on that 4-game skid.
Well, next up, is Nate Flores up to bat right after Cromwell, and he's already had a little bit of production from before, so you want to make sure that when next time you face him at the plate that you're smart about your pitches. You can't throw him anything easy, anything to get him going. He was thrown out earlier in the 8th inning trying to steal, but he's gotten on base twice. He had 2 flyouts. Brian Leaf also giving production, but everyone else, Justin Milano.
There is a swing and a strikeout for the first out in the 10th inning. Molnar gets Cromwell, who's trying to be aggressive there. He gets the first out. So now we have right fielder Nathan Flores coming up to the plate. He is the lefty.
And I believe that's the first strikeout swinging for the Dons today. Clearly getting more aggressive and more anxious as this game goes on.
Flores 2 for 4 in the game, a triple and a single with 1 run scored. He actually started the scoring for this game and the Dons in the top of the 4th. He was the first run scored in the game. There's Tate Brock with the pickoff attempt, and Leaf is safe at second. He advances to second. Great throw by Brock, maybe a little bit high as Yost comes over to field it. Just can't get it down in time.
Huge gamble there by Eric Leaf, but it pays off. Getting to second base puts him in scoring position, and now the pressure is starting to build on the Hornets. They can't let them get out in front any further.
And now you can see at the bottom of your screen how much he is leading off. Now they're going to call time, and he's going to walk back to second as Flores just takes a practice swing there.
Now
Leaf creeps back over. You see him. There is the pitch, and that is called strike 1 from Molnar to Flores.
Now, when the Hornets get back up to bat, they're going to have Jesse Hayes, Aaron Lizarraga, and Woodward that are going to come up to bat. All have not been very successful.
Swing and a miss on the 1-1 pitch to make it 1-2. And they have the middle of the lineup coming up here where they haven't had a lot of production.
And that can spell bad news, especially if you can't stop the Dons here before they score, because the middle of that lineup has done absolutely nothing this entire game.
1-2 pitches outside for ball 2. With Leaf still trying to cheat over. He's trying to get to third. He's got that quickness. Here we are. Molnar taking his time. And the 2-2 pitch is in. Flores pops it straight up. It's going to go up and behind the backstop. Count remains at 2-2 with 1 out, and the top of the 10th game tied at 4 apiece here on SportsNetUSA.net. And what a game it has been. Fullerton coming back from that 4-0 deficit, and the Santa Ana College Dons putting up 2 runs in the top of the 4th and the 6th apiece. Flores just reaching out. Hits that one foul, trying to stay defensive. He has the first run scored in this game off of a Brian Leaf RBI, and then Leaf actually went on to steal second off of that RBI single, and then he got around himself on a Derek Riley RBI single.
Now remember what I said.
Flores launches that one into right center. Parente's not able to get it. That's going to bring Leaf in. He's going to round third. He comes home, and that's the go-ahead run as they now lead 5-4 in the top of the 10th. Nathan Flores with the RBI double here to give his team the lead in extra innings.
Solid double there, but like I was saying before, the magic number for the Hornets, like I mentioned before, is beating 5 runs. They can beat 5 runs, high likelihood of them winning this game. Let's take a look at that last replay.
So here is that absolute shot as Parente is chasing it down. He reaches out. He's not able to find it in the sun, just a little bit ahead of him. He scoops it up with the glove off the bounce, and throws it in. But at that point, there's nothing you can do.
Just make the smart throw and stop the runner as soon as you can.
So Fiscardo, he's going to head out to the mound. It looks like Molnar may be done for the day. He is. He's heading out.
Now the Hornets right now, Luke, Currently at the bottom of the Orange Empire Conference rankings at 2-9 in the conference, 12-15 overall. Definitely not the season that Coach Friscardo and the team had envisioned, and the road's only going to get much tougher. They're going to go face Orange Coast on the 4th, basically right after they're done with Santa Ana, and then they have a series against Cypress and then Golden West to finish out the season.
Yeah, it's tough waters ahead, like you just said, with Orange Coast sitting there at 21-5, second in the conference, one of the best teams in the state, just an all-around powerhouse. So now we have Jacob Channel checking in. He is a 6'3" righty, the sophomore from Fullerton Union High School, literally right across the street, right across Lemon. He has a .69 ERA in 13 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, 4 walks, and a 2-0 win-loss record.
Now the Dons' winning streak is in a little trouble here as the Hornets come. The Hornets really are trying to end this game and come out with a victory, as the Dons defeated them the last 2 games that they played. One was 3-2, and the next one 11-2. Much more convincing fashion. Bases loaded and not being able to capitalize on bringing runners in has been a focal point for the last 2 games. The Hornets had 11 hits in the first game, which is awesome, but they left 11 guys stranded on base as well.
And that's the key to the game right there. You have to get the runners in, and they've been doing that here as of late. But it's just critical for Santa Ana that they took the lead there off of that RBI double from Flores, bringing in the first leaf, Eric. But now you take a look at it, and that's a little bit deflating if you're the Hornets. No, that definitely swings the momentum the other way, and they're going to have to come out and have a strong showing here from Channel, and then the offense is going to have to kick right back into gear with the middle of the lineup, like you said earlier, with Aaron Lizarraga, Austin Case, and Todd Yost all up next.
And like I said before, none of those players have really provided any kind of production in this game. There's been a bunch of flyouts. Lizarraga had a flyout, or had 2 flyouts. Woodward had a strikeout. Anderson before that had a flyout. Todd Yost had 3 flyouts on 4 of his trips to the plate.
All right, so we are back. Brian Leaf stands at the plate, the .341 hitter who has scored 2 of the 5 runs today for Santa Ana. He tips that one foul right into the backstop for an 0-1 count early on. Jacob Channel starting things off here. He is the 5th Hornets pitcher to come in, the 4th in relief. He is he's in a bit of a tough spot here, Avery. He's got the runner on second. He's down by 1 in extra innings with a very good hitter in front of him. Turfs shifting to the right, and there we see Leaf try to hit opposite. Pardon me, try to drive it down the third baseline, which as a righty is not easy to do. It just goes out of play for an 0-2 count.
And I think Channel is getting ready for the windup, taking a check back at second base. Like you mentioned before, Turfs had shifted over to the right.
Well, they're expecting the hit to go opposite in between that alley for first and second. So that one flies up right behind the backstop one more time. So you're going to see Turfs jump over there. They're expecting the ball to go that way. Then they would have the easy throw out at first. It would advance the other Leaf. Pardon me, it would advance Flores, who's standing on second, over to third. But then you would have the 2 outs, which is a huge advantage here. Channel, he gets the call in. He checks Flores. There's Turfs on the adjustment. And that is a shot into right field. Chase Kerr isn't able to get it. It goes over his head. That's going to bring in Flores. They're going to stop Leaf at second. There's another RBI double for the Dons. They now go up by 2 runs in the top of the 10th inning, 6-4. And Avery, that's their 12th hit of the game.
Yeah, and the Dons snuck into the kind of just snuck into the room there, pulled the IV out, and now the Hornets are slowly dying.
And you have to admire the way Santa Ana has responded here. When a team, you're winning the entire game nearly, and a team comes back in the bottom of the 9th the way they did to tie things up, to come back immediately and score 2 more runs.
Well, they still have a shot, but it's just not a very good shot.
Anything is possible. They're going to have another inning to play, but it is tough. So now Coach Viscardo heads out there one more time to talk to Channel. He's done. After only 1 batter faced, he is done.
They only need 2 base hits to put a little bit of pressure on the Dons. But then again, that's a lot easier said than done. Just 2 base hits.
So there is Coach Viscardo. He's going to bring in his ace who pitched yesterday, Chris Sanchez. Sanchez had a rough go of things in that outing. He picked up the loss in only 2 innings pitched. He gave up 7 hits, 5 runs, 3 of which were earned. If you watch him warm up here, the man, he can throw some heat, and he's got size to throw the ball around at 6'4" and 237 pounds. He is a sophomore righty from Diamond Bar, not too far away, just a little bit in the Inland Empire. He's got a 3.24 ERA in 58 and a third innings pitched, 41 strikeouts, Avery.
Sheesh.
Last season, he was in that reliever role, kind of what we're seeing here today from him. And then going into this year, Coach Viscardo said that he is going to be taking on that ace role. He's going to be the guy that they look to. So he might have a little bit of wear from yesterday, but this is the man that they want on the mound.
Well, as a team in the past 2 games, the Dons have just eaten the pitchers alive coming out of Fullerton, like cannibal red dragon, Silence of the Lambs style, just ate them alive. And I mean, they faced everybody. They faced Chris Sanchez, who was the starter. They faced Aaron Lizarraga. They faced Jacob Channel. They faced Sean Henry, Mike Cavelli, Anthony Ali. They faced almost everybody. And Here they are again, going through pretty much the same thing, but this time just extra innings.
Right, as you said, I mean, 2 games ago, when Santa Ana won 3-2, they faced Garrett Molnar. They faced Jacob Manzour. Before that, they faced Logan Lannon, who was the starter today. Had a very solid outing.
I mean, the Dons had 18 hits and 11 runs. So, I mean, that's just a lot of meat, a lot of production right there.
They're working these pitchers, and by the end of the series, they're tired. You can see they're running out of guys. But we're back. Sanchez, he's pitching to Justin Milano, the Dons' third baseman, with Nathan Flores standing there on second. The Santa Ana College leads 6-4 in the top of the 10th. They have come back after Fullerton tied things up in the bottom of the 9th. That first pitch was a ball, making it 1-0. Sanchez gathers himself. He's got that deliberate release. And Milano is going to swing, and that one's going to shoot as a grounder out of play on the third baseline. Count is now 1-1.
Now, after this, they still have, the Dons still have a series to play against Saddleback, and then they take a short break from conference, play Long Beach, then they're right back at it against Irvine Valley, and then their biggest challenge will be when they face the number 1 ranked now Riverside City Tigers, who have somehow slid into first place, defeating OCC twice.
They've climbed the mountain, so to speak. That is OCC, as they have been dominant in baseball this season. There was another Hornet warning there, not the baseball player kind, but the actual bug. Looks like we're all good. You saw Aaron Lizarraga hit the deck at first. Chris Sanchez made a beeline for the dugout as he delivers a strike there to go up 1-2 in the count against Milano with a runner with Leaf, in fact, standing on second.
You said it was a Hornet warning, and I looked at the bench.
Sanchez looking to close things out right here. Yost shifting out to the left. Turf shifting to the right, away from second. That one's low into the ground, though, for ball 2.
Good job by Brock there, keeping it in front of him and also keeping an eye on the runner on second in scoring position.
Milano, he's 1 for 4 today. His lone hit was an RBI single in the 6th. So there's a hit down the first base line that's going to go out of play past the dugout. Count stays at 2-2, 1 out.
And that was a pitch right down the boulevard there. A little bit of heat on it, but pretty basic pitch.
If you're Sanchez, what are you doing in this position, Avery?
I'm throwing inside.
They've been working the corners like they have all day. And he does throw one low and inside. The third baseman, Austin Case, is able to snag it. And he throws the runner out at first. So that's the second out here in the top of the 10th with a 6-4 Dons lead over the Hornets. We now have the shortstop, Derek Riley, with a 287 average at the plate.
Now Derek Riley able to get on base once, hit a ball out to third base, and then he got thrown out at first.
And that pitch is a strike as it is low and inside, just hits the corner.
His last trip to the plate, though, he did strike out looking,
which is good news for Sanchez. He already has, as we said, a whopping 41 strikeouts on the year. That one is low over the middle for strike 2. Now you can bet your bottom dollar that Riley will be swinging on this one unless Sanchez just throws something kind of cheap out there trying to get a free strike and escape from this one.
Well, if I was Riley, I wouldn't want to strike out looking twice. So maybe Sanchez is looking to kind of bait him.
Well said. He's going to swing, launches that one into right field, and Kerr's not going to get there. That's going to bring in another run. That's going to bring in Brian Leaf for an RBI single, and that's the 3rd run that the Santa Ana Dons put up here in the top of the 10th. With their backs against the wall, they really showed up and have put a stranglehold on this game.
Yeah, this lead's starting to get away from the Hornets now. Don's up by 3. Not really sure if the middle of the Hornets batting order has enough firepower to come back for 3 runs, but maybe enough to just hold on to get someone else out there, like Joey Parente, if they can hold them off.
Well, Adam Candejas is up to the plate. He is the first baseman today for the Dons. He's had a couple of strikeouts. He's had a walk and a single so far. That was ball 1. So, Sanchez, very slow, deliberate, takes his time as always. There's the 1-0 pitch.
Pitch is still going a little bit inside, looking to work that chest area of the batter, work that inside area of the batting, or of the strike zone. I'm sorry.
So that is a called strike. The count is tied at 1-1 with 2 outs. Don's looking to build on this already ballooning lead. They are up 7-4 in the top of the 10th. He swings at that one, knifes, and it's going to go out of play along the first baseline. Sanchez was sprinting there. He just couldn't get to it in time. They're lucky because Candejas likely would have been thrown out at first from Sanchez to Lizarraga.
And then it would have been Hornet time.
So Candejas, he is He is up with a 1-2 count. Chris Sanchez still at the plate. He has been effective in relief so far, except for that one run just allowed. That was low into the dirt, and the catcher, Tate Brock, loses it in his face mask. You can see the frustration as Derek Riley advances to second. And now, Avery, you're starting to get a sense of desperation from this Hornets team. They feel like they are not in it. They had a sense earlier in the game, especially in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, you know, that they were going to finish the job and come back, but they haven't done it so far here.
Yeah, the resolve is kind of faltering, kind of slipping away here. We saw a whole bunch of energy.
And that is a called strikeout looking for Sanchez, so he adds to his total. That's his 42nd of the year. And in that inning, there were 5 hits, 3 runs, no errors, 1 man left on base. And now the Santa Ana College Dons lead Fullerton College 7-4 in the middle of the 10th. You are watching Fullerton College Hornet Baseball live on SportsNetUSA.net.
And once again, don't forget, if you're looking for a new or used vehicle for maybe the college student in your life or military veteran, go down the street to Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you didn't know, Miller Toyota of Anaheim gives student and military discounts. Miller Toyota of Anaheim has all the variety and selection you need at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Or, if you don't have a car, visit them online at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and, most of all, education.
And I believe we may have a highlight there to recap what was an exciting 10th inning out of Santa Ana, where they put up 3 runs. So there we're going to see a pick-off attempt where Leaf was safe at second. That one went over Parente's head, leading to the first of the 3 runs scored by the Dons in the 10th inning.
And that's what really opened the floodgates.
And that was the last one, which was put over Chase Kerr's head, bringing in the 3rd. Here we're going to see Brian Leaf rounding first, and he's going to second. That's the other view of that shot to Chase Kerr you just saw. He's excited. That's Austin Case picking it up at 3rd, and we are back with Guillermo Sanchez on the mound for Santa Ana. That's a swing and a miss from Lizarraga as he is just knifing at it down low. Looks anxious. So the count is 0-1.
Now he's got to have a little bit more discipline than that.
And another swing and a miss from Sanchez, 0-2.
Because now he's just worked him back, 0-2 in the count. And he swung at both of them. So guaranteed the pitcher's going to try to get him to swing again. Might throw him a little inside.
He looks like he is tight and he's going to swing at everything as he just shoots a rifle over to Sendejas at first, who scoops it up, tags the bag. That is the first out of the inning. The Hornets need 3 runs here to stay alive with Daniel Turfs at the plate.
Yeah, Turf's subbing in now.
Turfs has not had an at-bat in this game yet. He is a .313 hitter on the season with 5 RBIs and 12 runs. He shows a bunt that he pulls up. That is strike 1. Sanchez coming out here. He's going to take care of business. He's throwing heat.
Now Turfs does have to be careful. He's been struck out 11 times.
There's the 0-1 pitch. A swing, and I believe he made contact with the ball, but that is going to be strike 2.
Now another 0-2 count with 1 out.
Sanchez just loosening up a little bit. He likes the call he gets from Bobby Vasquez. Throws it in. And that is ball 1.
And the ump looks that one off. Kind of.
That looked awfully close to the outside edge of the plate, but it is a 1-2 count. Guillermo Sanchez delivers. It's a swing. Turfs jacks it back.
Now you mentioned this is his first at-bat in the game. So he might not get another one. So he's kind of swinging at everything because he might not get another shot. So
and the Hornets, they look tight as a team. They're coming out. They're playing anxious. They're not working the count. And to Sanchez's credit, he's coming out here. He's throwing gas. They have to swing at these strikes he's giving them. That one low and outside for ball 2. Count tied up at 2-2.
Showing a little patience, showing a good eye as well, Daniel Turfs is.
And Fullerton trying to avoid this 4-game skid from turning into 5 here. That's a swing. And Turfs is now just defensively hitting at everything. Sanchez has him on his heels.
Yes, it's a very bad place to be right now for Daniel Turfs, as he's shown to swing at almost everything. So you're pretty much playing into the pitcher's hands.
And Lizarraga the same before this. Just nothing they could get done. Sanchez, he's got that interesting little shoulder shrug that he does. He winds up, he releases. That one is low, and they're calling that a strikeout looking for Turfs. His one at-bat is going to end up in a strikeout looking. So the Hornets trail 7-4 in the bottom of the 10th. 2 outs, no runners on base, with Todd Yost, the sophomore shortstop, up at the bag. Yost had an RBI double in his last at-bat in the 8th, and then he's had a couple of pop-ups and a flyout earlier in the game. So that was ball 1 on the first pitch.
Now Yost, he's had 96 at-bats, struck out 30 times. So about a third of the time, he's not getting on the base, at the mercy of the pitcher.
Yost, he takes a hack at that one. It bounces foul, so the count is tied up at 1-1. And Avery, you can just feel that it's flat now.
Yeah, even when you see them swing, it doesn't look like they're swinging with purpose. They look like they're swinging to swing. And this is what Coach Fuscardo was talking about before in the beginning of the game, about not taking yourself out of the game and staying in it mentally. Coach Nealis also mentioned mental prep 100 times, saying that you need to be mentally tough and you can't let yourself get taken out of the game. Play your game and be happy with what you put out on the field, and then you should be good to go.
Well, Coach Nealis should feel good about that today, as the Dons have shown up to play. Fullerton looking a little bit lifeless now. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one is outside for strike 2.
Well, the Dons took a little bit of a nap in the 7th and the 8th, and then woke up again when it came to the 9th inning and the 10th inning. The top of the 10th.
No, they completely stole the momentum there, and there was nothing they could do. They're 1 strikeout away from winning, and that will not be it. They are calling ball 3. Good eye from Yost. Full count, 2 outs.
Pressure's on.
Fullerton down by 3 runs in the bottom of the 10th here at home. If they do not pull this off, that will be a season sweep by Santa Ana College and Tom Nillis of his former team, where he was the assistant head coach for a couple years. Yost hits a line into right field that is going to fall, and he will get a single out of it. So there is some life here for the Hornets. And now Tate Brock, the catcher, who has been in there all day, toughing it out, is coming to the plate.
And Tate Brock, he hit a ball out to shortstop and was thrown out at first. He got thrown out at first again earlier on in the game in the 2nd. He also struck out looking in the 5th inning.
And in the 7th, he was actually hit by a pitch. So he's probably a little bit sore right now. So here's Sanchez eyeing the catcher. Brock sizing up the competition. Sanchez, he gets the call in, winds up, delivers. Brock swings right away, and the third base coach of Fullerton is nearly drilled. But we see the fancy footwork, and he's able to get out of it.
That was almost Matrix-like, how he jumped over the baseball.
So that's good for strike one. It is an 0-1 count, 2 outs. Pinch runner on second. There we have Andrew Aguilar for Todd Yost. That's a big swing and a miss from Tate Brock. So now it is an 0-2 count. Hornets trail by 3 here in the bottom of the 10th. They need a hit here, and then the tying run would come to the plate.
They need another Luke Hobbs alley hit.
Well, he is that right-handed hitter, so you would expect him to pull in between first and second. That one is going to be ball 1. That is low into the dirt.
Good job there by Mr. Bobby Vasquez, keeping that pitch in front of him and making sure the runner didn't advance to second.
So here's the windup. Sanchez on the delivery, and Brock is going to chop at
Perfect
it.
hit.
And he's going to get a first. If that goes, like, he's going to get a single. He's going to advance Andrew Aguilar to second, and suddenly the Hornets have life again. Avery.
Yeah, next up to bat
is Jacob Manzour, who in his last at-bat in the 9th, he had a line out to second baseman Brian Cromwell.
And he's only got 4 hits on the season. He's been struck out 5 times, walked 3, but he's got 3 ribbies.
Well, a home run here would tie the game and send us into the 11th. A single brings in Andrew Aguilar to cut it to 2.
And if they go to the 11th, I'm predicting the Hornets win.
All right, let's write it down.
I'm saying that right now. Because they'll have 7 runs. So it's almost a guaranteed victory, isn't it?
Manzour swings. He chops that one up. This should do it. The throw to first. He is thrown out, and that is going to be the end of the game. There are 2 hits, no runs, no errors, and 2 men left on base there in the bottom of the 10th, and the final score is 7-4. Santa Ana College Dons over the Fullerton College Hornets. They advance to 20-8 on the season. Fullerton drops to 12-16 and continue the skid to 5 games. Coach Nick Viscardo and Coach Tom Nillis shake hands out at home plate as the teams head to their dugouts. So you have been watching Fullerton College Hornet. You have been watching Fullerton College Hornet baseball live on SportsNetUSA.net. I'm Luke Hobbs for Avery Jordan, and Ryan Osborn was here with us earlier. We want to thank the production team. We want to thank Fullerton College TV and Miller Toyota of Anaheim, our sponsor. Once again, you have been watching Fullerton College Hornet baseball on SportsNetUSA.net.